Chapter 208. Sietu saw that the brat in front of him was only around 20 years old. He was extremely young, but the aura he emitted made him, a level 7 overlord, feel shocked. If the other party had only killed beasts or only killed a few people, it would be impossible for him to accumulate this kind of murderous aura. This kind of murderous aura was like that of a general who had crawled out from a pile of corpses on the battlefield. Only by killing thousands and thousands of people would one's murderous aura be like that of a demon king. No matter how long a normal warrior trained, it would be impossible for them to have such a murderous aura. However, this brat was so young, yet he had such a ruthless, murderous aura. Could it be that he had killed people since he was born? Sietu's heart couldn't help but shiver. He had never seen anyone in the younger generation with a murderous aura stronger than his. Feng Qisha of the 3 great killing stars had killed the most people, but his murderous aura was not even worth mentioning compared to this brat's. If Feng Qisha's murderous aura was compared to a wolf cub, this brat's murderous aura was like that of a ferocious tiger. How many people had he killed? How many strong warriors had he killed to have this kind of murderous aura like a demon king? Sietu couldn't imagine. Who are you? Sietu had originally thought that only the substitute clan master Yushan or elder Yu Hai could be his opponent. He didn't think that a junior from the Yu clan would be so strong. The 4 great clans really lived up to their name. Although the Yu clan had declined on the surface, their hidden strength was still not to be underestimated. Sietu suddenly had a feeling that it was too early and too careless to start a war with the Yu clan this time. The Xie clan had not even investigated the matter thoroughly before they started a war with the Yu clan. It was really an unwise move. Yu clan guards, stay 10 meters away from the line and behead without mercy. Yu Yang didn't care about Sietu, but glared angrily at the retreating clan guards. The clan guard who had escaped the furthest was pounced on by Huitai Lang. He opened his mouth wide, revealing his sharp teeth. That fellow had already pissed his pants in fear, begging for mercy. When the Yu clan's generals saw this, they immediately felt their blood run cold. Everyone was so scared that they shivered. This abnormal 3rd young master was no joking matter. Previously, he had brought the 4th mistress and killed their way into the Yu clan castle. They had even killed the elders, causing a river of blood to flow. Even when the substitute clan master Yushan had appeared, he still dared to kill them. If not for the clan master Yu Hai's return, the consequences would have been unimaginable. After that, during the clan tournament, this 3rd young master had even beaten up the people from the Floating Mist sect, but no one dared to say anything against him. The family warriors did not want to provoke this little devil who dared to kill even the elders of the family. They did not want to test the law with their own bodies. Besides, with the support of the 3rd young master, it would be too shameful to retreat. Ow! They quickly raised their spirits and gathered behind Yu Yang. With him as the leader, they faced off against the Xie clan's generals. As for the 2 clan elders, they were very unhappy when they saw that the clan guards were now following this brat as their leader. However, Yu Yang's previous performance made them understand that this brat was already a rancor that they could not control. They did not have the strength of his powerful teacher, so they had to endure it no matter how depressed they were. Furthermore, now that a strong enemy had come knocking on their door, if the Yu clan did not work together, they would be finished. Thinking about this, the 2 clan elders also stood at 2 corners of the formation, supporting Yu Yang, who was in the middle. The Xie clan's guards had been killed by Yu Yang with a single slash. At first, they were a little panicked. However, when the level 7 Overlord Sietu landed on the ground and stood in front of them, the Xie clan's guards immediately erupted with fighting spirit. They roared in unison, responding to the Yu clan's general's demonstration. Howl! The Xie clan's guards shouted loudly, trying to use their strength and numbers to force the Yu clan's generals to retreat. Howl, howl! The Yu clan's generals did not dare to retreat at this moment. Yu Yang's demon blade did not recognize people. Furthermore, there was a man-eating demon wolf waiting behind them. Retreating would definitely lead to death. If they fought forward, they might be able to survive. Of course, they would not be outdone. They roared in unison, their roars like thunder. In the Yu clan castle, there were many clan guards who heard the news and rushed over to provide support. At the bottom of the Yu clan village, the Xie clan's guards also continuously teleported out, shouting as they charged up the mountain. Elder Yu Hai appeared. He strode out of the Yu clan castle. At the bottom of the mountain, Xianu, who was as famous as Xie Tu and was slightly stronger in martial arts, and the other level 7 overlord of the Xie clan, also climbed up the mountain step by step. Both sides' troops quickly gathered at the waist of the mountain. A huge battle was about to break out. No matter what your intentions are, since you have led so many people to invade my castle, I order you to immediately lay down your arms and surrender. Otherwise, I will kill you without mercy. Yu Yang would not talk about benevolence and morality with his enemies. He also did not have any conditions to speak of. In one sentence, if they did not surrender, they would die. The dignified Yu clan castle had been attacked by others. If they did not kill all the enemies, then even dogs and cats could come and cause trouble in the future. Yu Yang did not feel like the Yu clan castle was his own home, but this was still the pitiful guy's ancestral home. He had impersonated the pitiful guy and became the third young master of the Yu clan. If he could not even defend the Yu clan castle, then he would lose all his face. Xie Tu was extremely angry. He thought to himself that this brat was too arrogant. Currently, the Xie clan had the advantage in both numbers and combat power. It was fine to negotiate, but to lay down their arms and surrender? How could this be possible? Xianu, who had a bad temper, almost exploded when he heard Yu Yang's words. Xie Tu, who had a meticulous mind, secretly signaled Yu Yang to wait and observe the situation first. The Yu clan had thousands of years of inheritance and had a strong foundation. Even if the Xie clan had the support of a huge power and hundreds of experts, it would not be easy to defeat them. Acting rashly would only ruin things. Furthermore, the relationship between the four great clans was not ordinary. If they attacked without a good reason, the other three great clans would inevitably lend a helping hand. If the Xie clan wanted to defeat the huge Yu clan, not only did they need to have enough strength, they also needed to be reasonable. Otherwise, they would not be able to get past the Xia Emperor, Jun Wuyu. Even a fool would know how much Jun Wuyu valued Marshal Yu Hai. He had always regarded Yu Hai as his brother, so he would definitely not sit and watch. Greetings to you, Clan Master, Old Marshal Yu. Today, Xie Tu is not here to fight, but to ask the Yu clan to hand over the person. Old Marshal, please hand over the second miss, Yu Yu, and the adulterer who murdered my Xieqian Xiao. Originally, the Yu clan and the Xie clan would be united by marriage and everyone would be happy. However, the Yu clan's second miss was shameless and had an affair with her adulterer, even though she was already engaged. She even plotted to kill my nephew and her fiancé, Xieqian Xiao. Now, I am here to ask the righteous Old Marshal Yu to hand over Yu Yu and her adulterer to the Xie clan to deal with them. Xie Tu cupped his hands towards Elder Yu Hai, who was walking towards him. City Master Xie, as a city master, you must be polite. You did not investigate the truth and even led your men to attack the Yu clan castle. You even asked for the person forcefully. Do you really think that I am so old that I can be bullied by others? Elder Yu Hai's aura exploded. His voice was like thunder and exploded loudly, shaking everyone's eardrums and causing them to go deaf. Elder Yu Hai was a great marshal who had experienced hundreds and thousands of battles. His aura was like a mountain. Compared to the sharp Yu Yang, his aura was even denser and more solid. The Xie clan guards on the opposite side had already felt a huge pressure when Elder Yu Hai had arrived. Now that he had opened his mouth to rebuke Yu Yang, they couldn't help but take a step back. The Xie clan guards were afraid of Elder Yu Hai's prestige. Even with the two level 7 overlords, Xie Tu and Xianu, guarding them, they were still in a state of chaos. Xie Tu secretly saw this and felt a chill in his heart. Luckily, it was him and Xianu who were leading the team today. If it was someone else, the entire Xie clan guards would have been utterly defeated. Elder Yu Hai, this old fellow, was indeed strong despite his old age. He definitely couldn't be underestimated. Elder Yu Hai and Yu Yang one old and one young, stood in front of the formation. Their aura was completely opposite. One was as violent and overbearing as a ferocious tiger coming down from the mountain, showing off his abilities, making it hard for people to look at his murderous eyes. The other was as experienced and prudent as a pine tree, as steady as a mountain. Even if he wasn't angry, his might would cause people's hearts to turn cold. Most importantly, the aura of this grandfather and grandson pair complemented each other, making them even more outstanding. They gave Xie the feeling that even if thousands of soldiers and horses were to stand in front of them, they wouldn't be able to do anything to them, let alone his own troops. Xie secretly sighed in his heart. As expected of the Yu clan, one of the four great clans. Even if they had declined, even if they were declining day by day, they were still an old lion with an undying ambition. If anyone wanted to harm them, they would have to pay a heavy price. After the Xie clan defeated the Yu clan, how many elite disciples would they have left? Would the other clans take advantage of the situation and replace the Xie clan as one of the new four great clans? This question suddenly flashed in Xie heart. He suddenly realized that he had only wanted to defeat the Yu clan in the past. He had never thought about the possibility of failure and what kind of price he would have to pay. Compared to Xienu's thinking was much simpler. He felt that he was fighting against Xue, one against Yu Hai, and the other against that arrogant junior. The guards charged forward. As long as they could lure out the Yu clan's hidden strength, the huge power that was supporting them would make a move. Hundreds of experts would come out and annihilate the Yu clan in one fell swoop. From today onwards, the Xie clan would replace the Yu clan as one of the four great clans. Fourth brother, we are not here to fight to the death. We only want to talk about reason. Xie changed his mind. He wanted to fight the Yu clan, but he definitely couldn't let the Xie clan be the vanguard. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to defeat the Yu clan even if they all died. Forget about others. Just Marshal Yu Hai and that murderous demon king-like junior would be hard enough to deal with. The substitute clan master Yu Shan, the second son Yu Ling, and the 12 elders all had the power to fight. Especially the 3 great elders who never came out. They were even more unfathomable. Others only thought that they were only level 6 elders, but Xie had obtained the most secret information. These 3 great elders, the Xie clan wouldn't be able to fight against them even if they used all their strength. They only swore to never step out of the Yu clan's door and protect the Yu clan's puppet palace until their deaths. Hence, the world didn't know the true strength of the 3 great elders. He had to pull the power that was supporting him to the front. Otherwise, the Xie clan would become someone else's pawn, a pawn for someone else to explore the path. Xie changed his plan. He cupped his hands towards Elder Yu Hai and said, Marshal Yu, no matter where you go, there is only one word, reason. Today, the Xie clan would like to ask the Yu clan to give a reason. Yu clan's second Miss you had murdered my nephew, Xie Qianxiu. What is the reason? If Marshal Yu is reasonable, then both clans will stop fighting and gather all the relevant people to discuss the merits of reason. He felt that the Xie clan was reasonable. If they forcefully pulled the Yu clan in front of Junwu Yu, then Junwu Yu and the 4 great clans would be too embarrassed to help. As for the Yu clan, he felt that it was impossible for them to hand over Yu. Hence, when the time comes, the Xie clan and the experts that were supporting them would challenge the Yu clan one by one. As long as the Yu clan's experts were all dead, the Yu clan would naturally not have the qualifications to be one of the 4 great clans. It was impossible for the experts supporting them to use the Xie clan to open the path. At the very least, Xie wouldn't agree. It wasn't easy for the Xie clan to rise to power. If they fought with the Yu clan, they would easily be beaten back to their original state. Of course, the Yu clan is reasonable. Xiaosan, go back and ask your sister to come out. I want to confront the Xie clan directly. If you have committed a crime, you will not be forgiven by the clan's law. If someone wants to slander us, I will not just stand by and watch you get bullied. What kind of person was Elder Yu Hai? He was an old marshal who had walked through bloody storms. He had already gotten tired of playing with Xie schemes since 100 years ago. His face didn't change at all. He waved his hand and asked Yu Yang to leave. If Yu Yang didn't leave, the enemy wouldn't be able to step down, and Junwu Yu wouldn't be able to appear. When Xie and Xianu saw that Yu Yang was finally leaving, they heaved a sigh of relief in their hearts. Although they were level 7 overlords, they felt an unnatural chill in their hearts when they faced Yu Yang's terrifying killing intent. They always felt like they were the prey in front of Tiger. If the information was not wrong, this brat should be the son of Yu Qiu, who had endured for more than 10 years and was called trash by the world for more than 10 years. He had inherited his father's sword techniques and had surpassed his father. At the beginning of this year, he had pulled a carriage with his own body and killed people along the way to the Yu clan castle, allowing his foster mother and sister to return to the Yu clan in glory. The Xie clan's only regret was that they didn't send anyone to watch the Yu clan's New Year's tournament, missing the best chance to observe this brat's strength. According to the information, this brat had at least the power of a level 6 elder, or even a level 6 advanced elder. It was also because of this brat's sudden appearance that the power supporting the Xie clan suspected that Yu Qiu didn't die that year and was still alive, guiding his son in secret. Many people thought that with Yu clan's third young master's outstanding talent, becoming an innate was only a matter of time. If the Yu clan had an innate, no one would be able to shake the position of the 4 great clans. This was also the reason why the power supporting the Xie clan was so anxious to attack the Yu clan. They had to get rid of Yu clan's third young master and lure Yu Qiu out. Yu Hai was already old. Yu Shan and Yu Ling's talent was not enough. These 2 father and son were the Yu clan's biggest threat, no matter in the past or in the future. Yes, you're the clan master. Of course I will listen to you. Yu Yang seemed to be very obedient on the surface, but he immediately took out his Huijin magic blade and slashed forward like a thunderbolt. Its power was unparalleled. Even the mountains and rivers would collapse. This slash shocked Xianu, who was in front of him. When he hurriedly dodged the sneak attack, he realized that Yu Yang had already pounced into the group of guards like a tiger in a flock of sheep, killing more than 10 people in a row. Boom! Yu Yang exchanged a blow with Xie Li, who was trying to stop him. The collision was like a hurricane, causing the surrounding Xie clan guards to be blown away. More than half of them were heavily injured, while Yu Yang floated back like a feather and landed lightly in front of Elder Yu Hai. How dare you? You dare to kill people in front of us? Xianu almost went crazy from anger. Didn't he say that he wanted to negotiate? This brat actually dared to go back on his words and sneak attack him? Are they even human? Yu Yang curled his lips and turned around to leave as if nothing had happened. Forget about the Xie clan's guards. Even the Yu clan's generals were trembling with fear. That kind of coldness that disregarded life was even colder than 10,000-year-old ice. In the eyes of this third young master, perhaps those people that he had killed were not even considered as ants. The Yu clan's generals hurriedly opened a path for Yu Yang, respectfully sending off Yu Yang with their eyes as he left. Their feelings were very complicated. There was a sense of fear, but also a sense of pride that arose spontaneously. Xianu really wanted to unleash his greatest power immediately and fight to the death with this brat. However, Xie made a hand gesture to calm Xianu down. When he had fought with Yu Yang just now, he had discovered a shocking fact. That arrogant Yu clan's third young master indeed had the ability to be arrogant. His strength was definitely not that of a level 6 elder, but a level 7 overlord. Xie realized that he was already prepared. When they exchanged a blow, he did not gain the upper hand at all. Instead, he felt that his opponent still had some strength left. Hence, it was no wonder that this brat could disregard everything. The reason was that he himself possessed extremely strong strength, so there was no need for him to care about other people's expressions. Second brother, ever since Xianu became a level 7 overlord, he had never been so cowardly as he was today. Don't provoke him. Go and ask Elder Song and he to come here and uphold justice. Xie quietly opened his palm. Xianu, who was standing in front of him, could clearly see that Xie palm was charred black, as if it had been burnt by raging flames. Xianu was stunned. The strongest part of his second brother's defense was his hands, which were protected by treasures like thunder, fire, divine arms. He did not expect that brat to burn his second brother's palm with just one move, with just a blade aura. How is this possible? Chapter 209. When Yu Yang returned to the Yu clan castle with Princess Qianqian, he used a horse carriage to bring Yu Yu and Yu Bing out. He realized that the two groups of people who were confronting each other had moved to the Yu clan village at the foot of the mountain. The Yu clan was on the left, while the Xie clan was on the right. Other than Elder Yu Hai and a few elders, the substitute clan master Yu Shan and second uncle Yu Ling had also rushed back after hearing the news. However, the eldest grandson Yu Tian and Yu Yin were not present. They seemed to be protecting them on purpose. Jun Wuyu and the people from the four great clans were present. It was similar to the New Year. Feng Xiao Yin from the Feng clan, Shui Wen Dao from the Shui clan, Yin Xinzhong from the Yin clan, and Feng Kuang, who was the commander of Jun Wuyu's imperial guards. The people from the four great sects had also arrived. Yu Yang only recognized one of them, and that was Yu Feng's teacher, Elder Ku Ming. Actually, Yu Yang did not recognize the other two. Of the other two, one had red hair like a lion, tall and sturdy. His eyes shone brightly, and he looked extremely powerful. The man standing beside the red hair like a lion was gentle and elegant. There were green dragon tattoos on his snow-white robe. Yu Yang was slightly startled. It seemed that this was the Eastern Ocean Crystal Palace's dragon ambassador. Only the rankers from the Eastern Ocean Crystal Palace would have different colored dragon tattoos on their white robes. Red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, and purple. It was said that the red dragon tattoo was already a level 6 junior elder. This dragon ambassador with green dragon tattoos was not an ordinary person. He was at least a level 7 overlord ranker. As for the red hair like a lion, it seemed that he was a ranker from the Western Lion Pagoda. This was because the Northern Moon Fairy Pavilion would not recruit any males. The fairies from the Fairy Pavilion would also not participate in worldly battles. Yu Yang's level 4 divine vision swept across the two of them. A faint smile appeared on his lips. He turned to look at Elder Ku Ming. He felt that this old man was hiding his strength. He was not a bad old man. Elder Ku Ming did not sit in front of a horizontal table like the other notaries. Instead, he sat on a rock. His position made Yu Yang take a few more glances. There were countless experts on the Xie clan side. Yu Yang realized that excluding Shui Tu and Xuan Nu, there were 5 overlords. As for level 6 elders, there were close to 20 of them. It was even to the extent that there were 2 old geezers that had attained level 8 emperors. These 2 people had arrogant expressions on their faces. They were also the only rankers on the Xie clan side who had seats and tables to serve tea. Everyone from the Xie clan was extremely respectful towards them. Even Xie Tu and Xie Nu had to lower their heads slightly when they spoke. The 2 old men looked alike, as if they were twins. Both of them had white hair and long eyebrows, white hair and a youthful complexion. Their appearances were benevolent and kind, and they had the air of immortals, as if they were old immortals who did not belong to the mortal world. Yu Yang reckoned that if it wasn't for the old cunning fox, the eagle-eyed Xia Hou Lai, and the others standing beside Elder Yu Hai, the Xie clan would have already attacked them. After all, their strength was much stronger than the Yu clan side. Among the Yu clan's troops, Yu Yang discovered that the 2 rankers that he had seen in the Whitestone City's warm house had also arrived. They were standing beside Elder Yu Hai. One was as powerful as a lion, while the other had a hidden aura like a leopard. The 2 of them were not very eye-catching in the crowd, but in Yu Yang's eyes, their strength was not ordinary. The Zhang Fei-like Eastern Sky King had also arrived. When he saw Yu Yang driving the horse carriage down the mountain slowly, he flew over impatiently and patted Yu Yang's shoulder heavily. "Yu clan's 3rd brother, don't worry. You are my daughter's man. I will protect you. Even if others want to bully you, there's no way. I am only your daughter's personal guard captain. It would be better if your highness could explain things clearly." Yu Yang sweated profusely. Luckily, this fellow did not say that he was his man. Otherwise, others would suspect that there was something wrong with his sexual orientation. However, The Eastern Sky King did not mind. He patted Yu Yang's shoulder again. What are you saying? You and little fallen flowers will be a couple sooner or later. I can protect you in advance. These words did not sound like a prince, but more like an underworld boss. Of course, there were probably no rankers who knew what kind of treasure the Eastern Sky King was. Hence, everyone did not find it strange at all. Instead, they felt that it was normal. It was the old man on the left who was sitting arrogantly and drinking tea. He snorted slightly. Does your highness words represent Tian Luo Kingdom? Old man Qing's song, others might be afraid of you, but I don't care about you. Aren't you just a level 8 intermediate emperor? What's there to be proud of? I think you two old fools will never be able to become a level 9 saint. You will die of old age in a level 8 tomb. What's wrong with me protecting him? This is my son-in-law. If you dare to touch a single hair on his head, I will immediately bring my troops to attack your Zijin kingdom. Let's see if your Zijin kingdom's wolf cavalry is stronger or my storm cavalry is stronger. The Eastern Sky King was comparable to Zhang Fei. His tone was like a barrel of gunpowder that had been ignited. He was the second most powerful person in Tian Luo Kingdom, only below the Emperor Hua Suri. The Tian Luo Emperor Hua Suri did not like to deal with political affairs. Most of them were handed over to his ministers. Hence, the most famous person in Tian Luo Kingdom was the Eastern Sky King. The Eastern Sky King was originally the crown prince, but he was a battle maniac. He disliked political affairs even more than Hua Suri. He even hated living in the imperial palace. He always felt that it was a huge prison. Hence, he voluntarily abdicated and passed the throne to his younger brother Hua Suri. He became the Eastern Sky King and lived a carefree life. It could be said that even if the Xie clan or any other forces could destroy the Yu clan castle, they would definitely not dare to touch the Eastern Sky King. If the Eastern Sky King was harmed, the Tian Luo Kingdom would definitely send out all the elites to avenge him. There is no reason in this world. Let's talk about reason first. The old cunning fox quickly told the Eastern Sky King to calm down. After all, the Emperor Jun Wuyu was still sitting in the middle. The 4 great clans and 4 great sects were all present. He had to give them some face. As for the Xie clan, although the 2 old men were unhappy, they did not want to argue with the Eastern Sky King to avoid unnecessary trouble. The city master of the Blade Peak Mountain City, Yushan's best friend in the past, the current clan master of the Xie clan, Xie Tao, stood out from the crowd on the right. Following him were 2 guards who were carrying a stretcher. On top of the stretcher, there was a corpse that was too horrible to look at. That corpse was Xie Qianxiu, whom Yu Yang had ruthlessly beaten up and whom Hui Tai Lang had eaten until he was half full. In order to let him die a more painful death, Yu Yang had even crushed a healing crystal to preserve his last breath. Even if Xie Qianxiu moved back to the Xie clan, he would not die so easily. Yu Yang saw that there was an additional finger mark between his eyebrows. He reckoned that it was an attack by an expert from the Xie clan to prevent him from dying a more painful death. Xie Tao's face was filled with grief. Wiping his tears, he bowed to Jun Wuyu and said, "Your Majesty, when your Majesty had sent me to guard the Blade Peak Mountain City, I've been working hard for more than 10 years, not daring to slack off for even a day. That day, your Majesty had personally acted as a matchmaker and betrothed the Yu clan's second miss to my son. It should have been a match made in heaven. The marriage between the Shui and Yu clan was my greatest wish. I never thought that my son would meet his end today. Your Majesty, please help me. If the Yu clan wanted to break off the marriage, although it was against the rules, I would still reluctantly agree to it. However, I never thought that my son would be beaten to death by the Yu clan's second miss and her adulterer just because he had witnessed their shameful actions. This is the death of a young man before a young man. I am heartbroken. I beg your Majesty to uphold justice for me." Looking at his tearful face, if outsiders did not know the truth, they might really be deceived by him. The Xie clan's only regret was that Xie Qianxiu's bad reputation had spread far and wide. The Yu clan's second miss had always been gentle and virtuous. Their actions seemed to be like a cornered dog biting the wall. Jun Wuyu gave Xie Tao a seat, but did not say anything else. On the other hand, the Green Dragon ambassador from the Eastern Ocean Crystal Palace looked at the corpse suspiciously and asked, Clan Master Xie, you said that the Yu clan's second miss colluded with the adulterer to kill your son. Do you have any evidence? Can you describe the process of his death in detail? Everything needs proof. Where is your evidence? Dragon Ambassador by Bo, my son, and Miss 11 met the Yu clan's second miss and her adulterer on the road. The two of them hooked up and committed adultery. It was unbearable to look at. My son came out in anger, but he was not strong enough. He was raped to death by the adulterer. His corpse has not even turned cold. Everyone can see how he was murdered. My Xie clan has both witnesses and material evidence. Miss Wanwan's arm was chopped off by the adulterer. She was lucky enough to escape and is still in shock. If Dragon Ambassador by Bo promises to protect Miss Wanwan from the enemy's evil hands, I will invite Miss Wanwan out and let her describe the tragedy of my son's death to everyone. Xietao seemed to be sad as he spoke, tears rolling down his face again. Please invite Miss Wanwan out. Dragon Ambassador by Bo and Brother Kuming will guarantee that the witness will definitely not be harmed. The red-haired man who looked like a lion gave an affirmative reply in a booming voice. The bewitching woman whose arm was chopped off by Yu Yang came out. She first greeted Jun Wu Yu, then greeted the warriors from the 4 great sects and 4 great clans. Then, she recounted what had happened at that time in a tearful voice. In her words, Yu Yang was an unpardonable murderer who had committed a heinous crime. His methods were cruel, his actions were outrageous, and he belonged to the category of beasts in human clothing. On the contrary, Xie Qianxiu had changed from a notorious schoolbell killer to a righteous and kind-hearted hero. She almost didn't say that Xie Qianxiu did a good deed every 3 days. In short, after her bloody and tearful accusation, even Yu Yang himself was a little doubtful whether he was an evil person who had committed a heinous crime. Princess Sisai almost clapped her hands and cheered. She had seen countless people pretending to cry, but it was the first time she had seen someone acting like this woman. After hearing the bewitching woman's accusation, everyone looked at each other in dismay. They all felt that it was a little inconceivable. The Yu clan second miss was such a gentle and pure girl. How could she have an adulterer? This kind of thing should have happened to Xie Qianxiu. If Xie Qianxiu was ungrateful and abandoned his fiancée, then it was possible that he had beaten the Yu clan's second miss to death. What exactly was going on? Miss Wanwan, everyone has heard your tearful complaint. Now, among the Yu clan's crowd, have you seen the figure of the adulterer? If there is that person, can you point him out? Jun Wu asked indifferently. Yes, it's that person. The bewitching woman had already seen Yu Yang, because Yu Yang was sitting on top of the horse carriage in a flashy manner. The bewitching woman pointed at Yu Yang, her eyes shooting out a vicious light. She gritted her teeth and snorted. It's him who chopped off my hand, and it's him who beat young Master Qianxiu to death. It's him. He's the adulterer. I will definitely not make a mistake. When she pointed, everyone who knew Yu Yang was stunned. Yu Yang smiled and nodded with certainty. That's right. I'm the adulterer. Rumble, Fatty Hai, Yi Kong, Li brothers, and the others were all shocked to the ground. Even Xia Houwei Lai, the serious eagle-eyed man, was shocked by Yu Yang's words. Feng Xiao Yin from the Feng clan and Xue Wendao from the Xue clan were stunned. Yin Xinzhong from the Yin clan had already covered his face and could not bear to watch anymore. According to their personal relationship, Yin Xinzhong was more inclined to help the Xie clan because the Yu clan was ranked 3rd and had always stood in front of the Yin clan. Yin Xinzhong would definitely be happy to see the Xie clan challenge the Yu clan. No matter who won or lost, the Yin clan would be able to reap the benefits. Now that the bewitching woman had pointed out that the adulterer of the Yu clan's second miss was the Yu clan's 3rd young master, Yin Qianli almost wanted to hide under the table. Blunder, the biggest blunder. The Yu clan's people used all their strength to hold back their laughter. As for the Eastern Sky King, he did not care. He was already crying from laughing so hard that he almost lost his breath. Xietao did not know who Yu Yang was, so he felt a little strange. Could it be that something was wrong? Xietu and Xian Nu had seen Yu Yang before. They knew that something was wrong, but was not convenient for them to say anything now. They were so anxious that they kept stomping their feet. It would have been better if Lady Wan Wan did not say anything, but she insisted on saying this. Now that she had identified the culprit, the whole thing would be ruined. No matter how fast they were, it was already too late to stop her. They did not think that the adulterer she identified was that brat. Otherwise, they would have killed her with a single slash. It would have been better if she did not tell them. Shui Wendao and Feng Xiaoyun looked at each other again. Finally, Feng Xiaoyun asked, Lady Wan Wan, are you sure that the adulterer was the one sitting on the roof of the carriage? Even if he turned into ashes, I would still recognize him. Moreover, he admitted himself. Your Majesty, please uphold justice for this weak girl. The flirtatious girl cried and kowtowed to Jun Wuyu. This matter, Xie Tao, it's not convenient for me to say it. Could it be a misunderstanding? Jun Wuyu looked at Xie Tao. Your Majesty, how could this be a misunderstanding? My son's corpse is right in front of you. Your humble servant also knows that Your Majesty and the old marshal have a close relationship. However, this matter concerns the Shui and Yu clan's son and wife being killed. Your Majesty cannot just sit back and do nothing. Xie Tao immediately knelt in front of Jun Wuyu. He pointed at Yu Yang and said, the murderer is right in front of you. If Your Majesty cannot bear to do it, please step back and let your humble servant and this traitor fight to the death. City Master Xie, the adulterer that Wan Wan mentioned just now, do you know who he is? Shui Wendao wondered if the Xie clan's people were all brainless. Who is he? Xie Tao was stunned. He seemed to have heard from Eastern Sky King that the brat was his son-in-law. This was indeed a little troublesome. Jun Wuyu was not willing to offend Eastern Sky King, but this brat was Yu clan's second Mrs. Adulterer. To be able to become the link between Tian Luo and Xia, could it be that this brat had a very special identity? You are accusing Yu clan's second Mrs. Adulterer, the young man on the roof of the carriage. He is Yu clan's second Mrs. Younger brother, the Yu clan's third young master. Feng Xiaoyun almost scolded them for being idiots. If they wanted to find an excuse to start a war, they should have found a better one. Such a stupid accusation made people feel ashamed for them. Xie Tao was completely dumbfounded. Chapter 210. What little brother? It's fake. At that time, Qin Xiu and I saw that slut pulling at him with our own eyes. The flirtatious girl panicked and retorted, yes, she's absolutely right. At that time, second older sister was indeed pulling my arm. If it wasn't for second older sister pulling me, I would have already beaten up Princess Qian Qian. I was reading at that time, and Princess Qian Qian punched me twice for no reason at all. No matter what, at that time, we were indeed hooking up and pulling at each other in a shameful manner. I can definitely prove this to her. Yu Yang nodded in affirmation. Princess Sisai was also there at that time. When Xie Tao heard this, he felt as if he had been struck by lightning on a clear day. He almost fell to the ground. No. How could the other two sluts be Princess Sisai? Who doesn't know that Princess Sisai carries a giant sword and wears a silver armor? That day, the other two sluts were wearing warriors' clothes. There was no Princess Sisai at all. The flirtatious girl's words almost made Xie Tao die of anger. She should have shut up earlier, but she just kept on talking. Shut up. Xie Tao really wanted to kill this spoilt woman, but he couldn't do it in front of everyone's eyes. He could only swallow the bitterness in his stomach. The slut you were talking about just now was me? Princess Sisai walked out of the carriage. That's her. There was another slut that day. The flirtatious girl hadn't finished speaking when she saw Yu Bing also walking out of the carriage. She immediately pointed out to Jun Wuyu and the others. It was those two accomplices, and that slut Yu. Nonsense. Xie Tao really wanted to kill her with one slap, but Thousand Withering Bones Feng Kuang stared at Xie Tao coldly and warned him, City Master Xie, you better not do anything. Otherwise, you will be suspected of killing the witness. The three sects envoys also guaranteed the witness's safety. The Xie clan strategist, Xie Tao, lowered his head in disappointment. Everything was over. It was really a woman's success and a woman's failure. Back then, when they encountered such a good opportunity, the Xie clan was too impatient and couldn't wait to attack the Yu clan. They didn't investigate clearly before they attacked the Yu clan. Right now, even if he had 1,000 mouths, he might not be able to explain himself. It would have been fine if he had mistaken the Yu clan's third young master as an adulterer. However, he never thought that Princess Sisai would be in the same profession as him. Under such circumstances, how could the Yu clan's second miss and the Yu clan's third young master become an adulterer? They were brother and sister, but the Xie clan insisted that they were adulterers. If this matter were to spread, the Xie clan would become the biggest joke in history. The Eastern Sky King was laughing so hard that he was rolling on the floor. His big fists pounded the ground desperately, but he couldn't vent the laughter in his heart. The guards of the Yu clan castle couldn't help but roar with laughter, while the guards of the Xie clan lowered their heads dejectedly. This time, it was really embarrassing. Feng Xiao Yin pointed towards Yu Yang and asked Xie Tao, "Now that all the prisoners are gathered here, they are the Yu clan's third young master, second young mistress, seventh young mistress, and Princess Qianqian. Do you have anything else to add?" Xie Tao almost wanted to find a hole to hide in. He hurriedly shook his head. "Misunderstanding. This is a misunderstanding." "It's not a misunderstanding." The two level 8 emperor elders from the Xie clan suddenly stood up. The elder on the right sneered. "Whether it's a mistake or not, the Yu clan's disciples have joined hands to kill the Xie clan's future clan leader, Xie Qianxiu. This is an ironclad fact. The Yu clan must give the Xie clan an explanation. Xie Qianxiu was an unknown disciple that we had our eyes on. Now that he has been killed by the Yu clan's disciples, as his masters, we must seek justice for him." As soon as he said this, the blood vessels on Jun Wu Yu's temples twitched. Even a fool would know that Xie Qianxiu was actually a useless piece of trash. Other than using his power to bully others and rape women, he didn't have any special skills. If they didn't use this as a pretext to make a fuss, even if a young man who was 10 times more talented than Xie Qianxiu was sent to the two elders, they wouldn't even bat an eye at him. Xie Qianxiu, forget about a level 8 emperor taking him in as an unknown disciple. Even a level 6 elder wouldn't look at him. If he wasn't born in the Xie clan and was the eldest son of the first wife, he would only be a trash among trash. The power behind Elder Song, and he was the self-proclaimed 5th sect in the world, the Green Summit sect. The Green Summit sect was the current guardian sect of the Zijin kingdom. It was originally a new sect formed by traders who had secretly learned the Yu clan's consummate skills and escaped to the Zijin kingdom. With the Zijin kingdom's support, they continuously recruited rankers and gradually grew in power. The Yu clan had always suspected that the sect leader and vice-sect leader who founded the Green Summit sect were the villains Machi Li Mie and Duan Mu Ku, who had poisoned the Yu clan's strongest rankers to death and stole the Yu clan's innate spear technique secret manual 1,000 years ago. At that time, the two of them were collateral relatives of the Yu clan. Because of their outstanding talents, they were trusted by the Yu clan and were even seen as brothers by the clan master. However, when the clan master was poisoned and surrounded by strong enemies, the two of them disappeared without a trace. 10 years later, Machi Li Mie and Duan Mu Ku appeared in the Zijin kingdom. At that time, they were already one of the 5 great shamans of the Zijin kingdom. With the support of the Zijin kingdom's emperor, they established the Green Summit sect. The current Green Summit sect had already become the leader of the Zijin kingdom's guardian sect and claimed to be the world's 5th sect. For thousands of years, the Green Summit sect had always been the Yu clan and even the Xia kingdom's archenemy. They had tried to destroy the Yu clan many times, but the Yu clan always had talented juniors who appeared and saved the Yu clan from danger. Today, even if Elder Song and he didn't say anything, everyone knew that these two old fellows wouldn't leave the matter at that. They were definitely here to cause trouble. Yu Yang didn't know who these two old fellows were, nor did he know that the Green Summit sect and the Yu clan had thousands of years of enmity. If he knew, he would definitely say, Sima Zhao's intentions are known to all. With regards to Elder Song and his provocation, Yu Yang stood out. He was very generous and admitted it immediately. That's right, I was the one who hit him. What's wrong with me hitting him? It's natural for me to hit him. If I didn't hit him, he would be sad. With regards to Yu Yang's shocking words, Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the others almost fell to the ground. The people from the Xie clan were already seething with anger. Their faces were distorted. It was still all right if they said it was a misunderstanding. Everyone would have a way out of the situation. But now, this brat had directly admitted that he had hit someone. Moreover, he was extremely arrogant. Everyone had seen many arrogant people, but they had never seen someone as arrogant as this brat. Facing dozens of famous experts, he was just a junior, yet he was still so arrogant. He was simply asking for a beating. On the Xie clan side, any one of them was a level 6 elder. If it wasn't for the Xia Kingdom's Emperor Jun Wu Yu, the Xie clan would have already wiped out the Yu clan. Yu Hai, is what this junior said what you meant? The elder Qing Song on the left was furious when he heard this. What he said is not what I meant, but it's more or less the same. Furthermore, I can't take care of him. If you have the ability, help me teach him a lesson. Elder Yu Hai was calm. His own grandson was already an innate. He had even killed Tu Cheng and Quang Zhan from the Thousand Goblins sect. No matter how powerful the two old bastards, Song He, were, they were destined to meet their end. The two old bastards, Song He, were strong, but could they be stronger than the two innate rankers, Tu Cheng and Quang Zhan? They were arrogant, but could they be more arrogant than the Thousand Goblins sect leader? The Thousand Goblins sect leader had personally witnessed his subordinates, Tu Cheng and Quang Zhan, being killed by his own Xiao San. He didn't even dare to look for Xiao San to settle the score. Qing Song, He He and the others were nothing. If that's the case, then let me teach the juniors how to behave when they see their seniors. He He, who was on the right, was prepared to come out and take down Yu Yang. Princess Sisai suddenly took a step forward and said, Seniors, I think that it's better for everyone to clarify the truth of the matter. As for this senior expert, we are still trying to reason with each other. It's not your turn to teach the juniors yet. Elder he was so angry that his hair and beard were trembling. He really wanted to kill Princess Sisai with a single palm strike, but Xietu hurriedly went forward and whispered a few words into his ear. Attacking Princess Sisai was the most foolish thing to do. The Yu clan's matter had not been resolved yet. It was unwise to fall out with the Xia Empire now. If Princess Sisai lost even a single hair, the 4 great sects and 4 great clans would definitely protect her. The heavenly imperial guardians of the Xia Empire would also come after hearing the news. Once he made his move, they would have a reason to attack. Doing this was basically putting the Xie clan and the Green Summit sect on the opposite side of the 4 great sects for great clans and the Xia Empire. Most importantly, the other party was in the right now. The more they attacked, the more they would appear to be in the wrong. They would appear to be angry out of humiliation. When Xietao heard that Princess Sisai was about to reveal the truth, he hurriedly waved his hands and said, Misunderstanding. This is a misunderstanding. He knew what kind of person his son was. Maybe he had taken liberties with Princess Sisai, which was why he was crippled. If that was really the case, not only would the Xie clan not be able to do anything to the Yu clan, they would also be tarnished with the name of taking liberties with the princess and humiliating the royal family. This is not a misunderstanding. The truth of the matter is like this. Princess Sisai recounted what happened at that time and added, I am unable to repeat all the filthy words that Xie Qianxiu said at that time. Furthermore, when Xie Qianxiu took off his clothes, he had the intention to rape the 3 of us. If it wasn't for our defensive skills, if it wasn't for the Yu clan's 3rd young master standing up for us, if it was a normal weak girl, that bastard who is worse than a beast would have succeeded long ago. So that's how it is. When everyone heard this, they suddenly understood. Previously, everyone felt strange. How did Xie Qianxiu become the messenger of justice? They didn't think that it was the Xie clan who distorted the truth and slandered them. But when they thought about it, Xie Qianxiu was actually a notorious lecher. He couldn't stop himself from eating **T. That was the most likely truth. Xietao didn't know whether it was because he was angry or because he didn't have the face to see others, but he spat out a mouthful of blood. His body swayed, and he fainted on the ground. The guards of the Xie clan hurriedly saved Xie Tao. "Wan Wan, you slut! How dare you lay your hands on Princess Sisai?" Xie Tu quickly tried to divert everyone's attention and shouted at the flirtatious woman. City Master Xie Tu, wait a moment. It is not your turn to question an accomplice. Feng Kuang coldly snorted. I hope that the Xie clan can give the Xia royal family a satisfactory explanation for this matter. If you want to give an explanation, it should be the Yu clan who can give the Xie clan a satisfactory explanation first. The fact that a Yu clan disciple killed Xie Qianxiu is a fact in front of us. As for what Xie Qianxiu did when he was alive, it could have been fabricated by someone. We can ignore that for now. I only saw that the anonymous disciple, Xie Qianxiu, was killed by someone. Elder Qing Song insisted on this point. After watching the clown's performance for half a day, I think it's about time. Yu Yang yawned and waved at Elder Qing Song. Old man, what's the big deal about killing Xie Qianxiu? This young master will send you to heaven as well. You're already so old. Why don't you just stay at home and wait for your death? Instead, you jumped out to act cool with your seniority. Tell me, are you retarded? Are you looking for death? Your era has long passed. Now, it's the era of youngsters like this young master. Do you understand? After talking about reason, let's talk about fists. This young master will say the same thing as before. No matter how many of you come, if you don't surrender, I will kill all of you. This young master will chase you to 1,000 miles away and will not stop. Young man, you are so arrogant. Elder Qing Song was so angry that his lungs almost burst. Wait until I step on your head. Then it won't be too late for you to praise me. Yu Yang intended to establish his might in front of all the experts in the world. These two arrogant old men in front of him were the best sacrificial offerings. Just as Elder Qing Song was about to attack Yu Yang, 2 silver stars suddenly flashed in the sky. Like a meteor, they beautifully streaked across the sky. In the end, they fell in the middle of the arena. Originally, everyone thought that this kind of unstoppable, thunderous fall would cause an earth-shattering explosion. The low-ranked family guards were so scared that their faces turned pale. Only the elders and above were able to calmly wait. Sure enough, the 2 silver stars fell to the ground. They were as light as feathers and did not cause any ripples. The 2 silver stars turned into 2 valiant and heroic women with silver wings and silver armor. Their bodies emitted a brilliant silver halo, and there was a mysterious halo flashing under their feet. His 4 hands gently pulled out a golden teleportation scroll. In an instant, a golden teleportation door rose up. A white-haired old man with neatly combed hair walked out step by step. His clothes were simple and clean, and he had the temperament of a scholar. He first bowed to Jun Wuyu politely, and then used a magnetic and unique voice to speak. Respected Xia Emperor, please forgive Nan Gong for coming uninvited. Almost everyone revealed an excited look when they saw the old man who had just arrived. This was because this white-haired old man who called himself Nan Gong was the head of the 10 directors of the Innate Alliance. He usually lived in the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower and did not appear normally. However, if there was someone who was close to becoming an innate, he would appear and invite them to join the Innate Alliance. His appearance represented an unparalleled blessing. As long as he appeared, it meant that there was someone who had caught the eye of the Innate Alliance. It could be said that the appearance of this elder Nan Gong was the greatest wish of all warriors. If he did not appear, they would never be able to reach the innate realm. Almost all the warriors bowed to this elder Nan Gong spontaneously and sincerely. This elder Nan Gong, who often brought good news to the world, was worthy of everyone's respect. Of course, people like Yu Yang, who had never heard of him before, did not understand what was going on. Everyone was excited, but the ones who were the most excited were Qing Song and Hei He. This was because they were both level 8 intermediate emperor, and they were the warriors who were closest to becoming an innate. They were only a step away from becoming an innate. They had been waiting for their whole lives, and they felt that the people from the Innate Alliance had finally come to receive them. How could they not be surprised? How could they not be overjoyed? When the old fox saw Ching Song and He's excited expressions, he almost wanted to say, "Don't be happy too early." Mr. Nangong, is there anyone among us who fulfills the requirements to join the innate alliance? Jun Wu looked at Ching Song and he who were trembling with excitement, and his lips curled into a mocking smile. He was asking the obvious. Chapter 211. Yes, Elder Nangong is here for this. The refined and courteous Elder Nangong slightly bowed to Jun Wu before giving a definite answer. Wow, congratulations, Elder Song, Elder He, congratulations. Xie Tu, Xie Nu, and the other Xie clan members were extremely excited. The clan master Xie Tao did not pretend to faint anymore. He rushed out immediately and congratulated Elder Song, and he with a face full of smiles. Although Elder Song and he pretended to be calm on the surface, their flushed faces could not conceal their happiness. Their originally steady palms were also trembling with excitement. Joining the innate alliance was every warrior's lifelong dream. They had been waiting for this day for a long time. The Xie clan's guards cheered, and the sound was getting louder and louder. The applause was thunderous. On the contrary, the Yu clan's guards were a little gloomy. It was not easy to destroy the enemy's morale. They were so close to victory, but now Elder Nangong, an innate rancor, had appeared and disappeared without a trace. Yi Kong and Fatty Hai were the most nervous. If the enemy was absorbed into the innate alliance, they would definitely launch a huge counterattack. At that time, Yu Yang would be in danger. Who would dare to stop an innate rancor? Even if an innate rancor was unreasonable, they could kill anyone who provoked them. To an innate rancor, an ordinary warrior was just like an ant. They believed that Yu Yang would definitely become an innate rancor in the future. Yi Kong and Fatty Hai did not doubt Yu Yang's talent at all. But now that they had encountered this matter, they were at a great disadvantage. If Jun Wu Yu and the others were not in front of them, Yi Kong and the others would have rushed out to let Yu Yang escape immediately. Where there's life, there's hope. The last thing Yu Yang needed now was to fight with the enemy. If he practiced hard for another 10 years, he would definitely be able to challenge Elder Song, and Yu Yang was too young now. He did not have enough time to practice. No matter how talented he was, his skills could not be compared with those old guys who had practiced for 200 or 300 years. Elder Nangong, Elder Ching Song, and Elder he pay their respects. Under the enthusiastic applause of the Xie clan's guards, Elder Song and he knelt down in front of Elder Nangong excitedly. Although Elder Song and he had a high seniority among ordinary martial artists, they were nothing compared to Elder Nangong. Elder Nangong was the head of the 10 great counselors of the innate alliance. 1,000 years ago, he was the one who guided the innate rancors from the soaring dragon continent into the innate alliance. The 250-year-old Ching Song he was not even a kid compared to Elder Nangong. Seeing Elder Nangong extending his hand to help Elder Song and he up, the guards of the Xie clan immediately burst into cheers. Sure enough, the target was Elder Song and he, who were the most powerful. At first, everyone was still a little worried because there were many outstanding rankers in the Yu clan. For example, the Eastern Sky King, whose strength was very close to a level 8 emperor. Ching Song and he were so touched that tears almost flowed down their faces. The heavens did not disappoint those who worked hard. Their 200 years of hard work had finally paid off. The door to the world of innate rankers had finally opened for them. They had walked on this path of becoming a rancor for more than 200 years, from a young age to a white-haired old man. Only today did Elder Nangong come. Thinking of this, Ching Song and he trembled. They knelt on the ground and looked at each other with tears in their eyes. They really wanted to hug each other and cry bitterly. Who knew that Elder Nangong's courteous words would stun everyone? Who are the two of you? I'm very sorry. I think you have misunderstood. This sentence was like a bolt from the blue. Ching Song and he were dumbfounded. Could it be that Elder Nangong did not come and guide them? The cheers from the Xie clan were cut in half. It stopped abruptly. The entire place was deathly silent. Almost all the cultivators stared at Elder Nangong with their eyes wide open. They couldn't understand what he meant. Elder Nangong did not come to guide Ching Song and Heihe, Eastern Sky King, who covered his face and could not bear to watch anymore, suddenly jumped out. He pointed at Ching Song and Heihe, who were as pale as dead ashes, and asked Elder Nangong, "Mr. Nangong, are you not here to guide them into the innate alliance? Both of them are quite powerful, but there is still a long way to go before they reach the innate realm. They need to work harder." Elder Nangong glanced at Ching Song and he who were kneeling on the ground, and shook his head lightly. He made a denial that made the warriors from the Xie clan feel hopeless, and made Elder Song and he collapse. Then he nodded slightly. "I'm here to guide someone else." Eastern Sky King shouted excitedly when he heard this. He clapped his hands at Ching Song, and he who almost fainted and shouted, "Have you heard the story of the old tortoises? Let me tell you mercifully. There are two old tortoises in this world. They think too highly of themselves. They are turtles at the bottom of a well, but they shamelessly want to climb out of the well and fly to the sky. Can they fly? Could they afford to fly with such thick skin? Congratulations to Elder Song and he for being guided by the innate alliance. Wahahaha! This is really a joyous occasion. On behalf of the Tian Luo Kingdom, I congratulate the two living tortoises who can fly to the sky. No, I need to compose a poem to express my excitement. The thick skin of a tortoise is invincible in the world. When it comes to flattery, who can compete with it? Feng Kuang continued. The imperial guards of the Xia Kingdom are following the Eastern Sky King. Congratulations to the two of you as well. The old cunning fox was not someone who was willing to be left out. He also shook his head and nodded. Everyone from the Ivy Academy congratulates Elder Song and he for their glorious return to the Western Paradise. Ah no, it should be their glorious ascension to the innate realm. Although Feng Xiaoyun, Xue Wendao, and the others did not speak, they were suppressing their laughter in their hearts. They almost burst out laughing. Another big blunder. Yin Xianzhong originally hoped that Elder Song and he would show their power, but now he covered his face as he could not bear to watch anymore. Even he felt embarrassed for the two old men. If he had known that this would happen, he would definitely not have befriended the Xie clan. They were really useless. Yin Xianzhong made a decision in his heart in a split second. He would break off his relationship with the Xie clan and abandon their secret alliance. After today's incident, it seemed that the Xie clan would suffer a disastrous decline. They would not be able to threaten the Yu clan anymore. There were many geniuses in the Yu clan. It seemed that the Yin clan would have to obediently stay at the fourth place and not surpass the Yu clan. Other than congratulating Elder Song and the Yu clan would also like to thank the two of you for teaching our Xiao San the rules of being a junior. You two elders have done a great job. Elder Yu Hai laughed coldly and clapped his hands sarcastically. Jun Weiyu, the old cunning fox, Feng Kuang, and the others had already known the result. They had been enduring patiently until now. Only when Elder Song and he had lost all their face did they launch a fatal attack to dampen their arrogance. Clap, 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 clap. The Yu clan's guards were clapping their hands with all their might. Their voices were 10 times louder than the Xie clan's. This time, it was the Xie clan's guards who wanted to find a hole to hide in. Ching Song and he had been living like princes for many years. They were usually flattered by countless people. They had never been ridiculed like this. The two of them were angry and embarrassed. They were so angry that they couldn't control their breathing in the end. Their vision darkened and a sweet and fishy liquid flowed out from their throats. Puff, puff. The two of them spat out blood and fell to the ground almost at the same time. At first, Xietao wanted to rush out and carry Ching Song and Heihe back. However, Xietu pulled his big brother's clothes lightly. Ching Song and he were done for. They had lost a lot of face and were basically abandoned. If they were to be too close to them, they might even implicate the Xie clan. Most importantly, since the innate rancor that Elder Nangong was going to receive was not Ching Song or Heihe, it would most likely be a warrior from the Yu clan. The biggest possibility was that it would be the most promising Princess Sisai. Although Princess Sisai didn't have the power of an innate yet, she had an excellent aptitude. It was almost certain that she would become an innate. It was reasonable for Elder Nangong to receive her in advance because he loved talents. When Elder Nangong walked towards Princess Sisai, Sietu nodded his head secretly. His guess just now was right. Although Elder Song and he were level 8 intermediate emperors, their potential was almost depleted. They were also old, and most importantly, they hadn't improved for more than 10 years. If Elder Nangong was interested in them, he would have received them long ago. Sietu recalled that the Xie clan had been complacent too early. Just like this time, they attacked the Yu clan without any investigation. Who would have thought that they would make a mistake? Although the Xie clan had people supporting them, there was still a big gap between them and the Yu clan, which had a deep foundation. Not to mention other things, Elder Yu Hai was much better than his big brother Xie, Tao, just by looking at the clan master. Xie Tu observed carefully and realized that even the substitute clan master Yushan, who was always calm and collected, could suppress his big brother. Even when everyone was cheering for Elder Song, and he just now, Yushan didn't move at all. Was this guy really the Yushan that his big brother said was not worth mentioning? Although the matter was not over yet, Sietu knew that the Xie clan had lost this challenge. Moreover, they had lost miserably. The Xie clan had lost because of their impulsiveness and carelessness. They didn't understand the Yu clan's strength and trump cards at all before they acted hastily. The result was out of control. Sietu looked at the Yu clan's third young master, whose murderous aura was like that of a demon king. His heart trembled. It seemed that this brat would not let the Xie clan off. He had a close relationship with Princess Sisai. If Princess Sisai were to be accepted into the innate alliance, then the Yu clan would also rise. The Xie clan was in danger. Sietu closed his eyes in pain. You were looking for me? I am not an innate yet. I am still far from becoming an innate. Princess Sisai looked at Elder Nangong, who was walking towards her in a panic. She waved her hands and said, "You must be mistaken. Little girl, you are indeed still a distance away from becoming an innate. However, that distance is very small. You just don't know how to unseal your innate strength. If the lad beside you is willing to help you improve together, I believe that breaking through to become an innate will not be a problem. Little girl, I believe that I will be able to invite you soon. Today, I am actually here to invite the lad beside you." Elder Nangong smiled at Princess Sisai and nodded towards Yu Yang. He then performed an elegant greeting that no one had seen before. What? Not only Princess Sisai, everyone was completely shocked. Of course, Jun Wuyu, Elder Yu Hai, and the others who had seen Yu Yang kill Tu Cheng and Quang Zhan, the two innate rankers, were excluded. The experts from the Xie clan almost collapsed. Elder Nangong was actually here to invite the Yu clan's third young master? How is this possible? Sietu felt as if his heart was about to explode. A sense of crisis made him feel fear in his bones. The most impossible and most terrifying thing had happened. The Yu clan had actually produced an innate. Moreover, it was the Yu clan's third young master who hated the Xie clan. This time, the Xie clan was in danger of being exterminated. Sietu recalled what Yu Yang had said before and realized that this lad was really an innate. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so arrogant. How would a normal junior dare to threaten to kill Elder Song and he? Yu Shan's eyes turned cold. He seemed to have already known that Yu Yang was an innate. However, when he saw Elder Nangong's evaluation of Yu Yang, his hands couldn't help but tremble. Eastern Sky King looked at Yu Yang dumbfounded. He didn't know how to react for a long time. Suddenly, he rushed over and grabbed Yu Yang's collar. He lifted Yu Yang up and shouted fiercely, "Are you an innate?" Chapter 2:12. In response to the Eastern Sky King's question, Yu Yang scratched his head. "I think so in the past, but after killing Tu Cheng and Quang Zhan, my power dropped again." "You killed Tu Cheng?" "Oh, my mother." The Eastern Sky King was so scared that he shivered. He immediately let go of Yu Yang and put him down. He quickly tidied up Yu Yang's collar and revealed a satisfied smile. "I can't be an innate. but it's not bad to have a son-in-law who is an innate. Son-in-law, when will you marry little fallen flowers? Jun Wuyo was originally drinking water calmly, but he spat it out when he heard that. Eastern Sky King, this shameless fellow, was calling him son-in-law too smoothly. Feng Xiao Yun and Shui Wendao looked at each other, then turned to Elder Yu Hai at the same time. They stood up and cupped their hands to congratulate Elder Yu Hai. As for Yin Qianli, he still could not close his mouth. The two envoys from Western Lion Pagoda and Eastern Ocean Crystal Palace hurriedly stood up and congratulated Elder Yu Hai. It was normal for them to look down on the Yu clan in the past, because the Yu clan did not have any innates. However, it was different in the past. Not only did the Yu clan have an innate, they even had an innate who was only 20 years old. What kind of concept was this? No matter how their own sex attitude towards the Yu clan was before, from now on, they had to pay more attention to them. Old man Kuming also looked at Yu Yang in astonishment. His eyes were filled with astonishment, but he quickly recovered his original bitter expression. The happiest ones were none other than the Yu clan's generals. In an instant, joy swept through their hearts like waves, and countless people were so excited that tears streamed down their cheeks. The Yu clan finally had an innate. This was the first innate in 1,000 years. How many generations of people have been waiting for this day? Finally, an inborn expert had arrived. The Yu clan, which was in the most precarious situation among the 4 great clans, had finally risen up. In order to wait for this day, the Yu clan's ancestors had put in a lot of effort. Some of them had died in battle for the clan. Some of them had endured humiliation and lived for the clan. Some of them had given up on training and researching puppet techniques to revitalize the Yu clan. Some of them had concentrated on training in order to achieve a breakthrough and memorize the mantra, even if their bodies were to explode. How many generations of people had sacrificed their lives for the clan? Until today, an innate rancor had finally appeared. Although becoming an innate depended on one's own hard work, the Yu clan had to pay an unimaginable price in order to continue their clan and preserve their bloodline. 1,000 years of effort. Only today did he reap the rewards. For the past 1,000 years, all the hard work that they had thought was a waste had finally paid off for the first time. The heavens had given the Yu clan their greatest hope, a new innate rancor. Hundreds of family guards, servants, and disciples of other clans were so moved that they knelt down. Some of them burst into tears. At this time, 5th Grandpa, who was riding on a deer, had tears streaming down his aged face. The most talented person in the clan, Yu Qiu, had died. However, his most useless and most bullied son, a useless mistress who was ridiculed by the entire soaring dragon continent, continued his father's outstanding bloodline and became an innate rancor. Jun Wuyu and Elder Yu Hai hugged each other. At this moment, both of them had tears in their eyes. The Xia dynasty and the Yu clan had already become an existence that was bound together for good or ill. Although the Yin clan was within the borders of the Xia kingdom, they were closer to the Zijin kingdom. The Shui clan had very few males, while the Feng clan was strong in single combat, but had no one to lead the army. Only the Yu clan had a steady stream of new blood, serving in the Xia kingdom's army. For 1,000 years, they had always protected Xia. If it wasn't for the Yu clan's 3 reviving heroes, Xia would have been reduced to a third-rate country by now. Originally, when the most talented person in 100 years, Yu Qiu, died in battle, Jun Wuyu and Elder Yu Hai had already given up all hope. They never thought that the young Yu Yang could actually endure this silently. For 15 years, he was willing to bear the scolding of trash and idiot, training in secret, and finally reaching the innate realm. This kind of unexpected surprise made Jun Wuyu, Elder Yu Hai, Feng Kuang, and the others drunk until they were dead drunk on the day Yu Yang defeated Tucheng. Even until today, they were still moved by this. A Qilin child bestowed by the heavens. Although they had lost Yu Qiu, this world-shocking genius, the heavens did not mistreat the Yu clan. They compensated them with an even more talented Yu Yang. Have you really reached the innate realm? When the Eastern Sky King put down Yu Yang, it was Princess Sisai's turn to grab his collar. She glared at him with her tiger-like eyes, When did that happen? You brat. You have been lying to me all this time? See if I don't beat you to death. How would I dare to lie to you? You know that I'm very afraid of tigresses. Yu Yang laughed, a very naughty laugh. Princess Sisai's face turned red and quickly put him down. Brat, are you asking for a beating? I'll deal with you later. Princess Sisai raised her little fist and was about to hit him. Seeing that all the elders were looking at them, she quickly pretended to be an obedient child. She imitated the Eastern Sky King's gesture and tidied Yu Yang's collar, purposely angering him. You don't look like an innate at all. How could a big pervert like you be an innate? I think they must have mistaken you for someone else. It can't be wrong. It can't be wrong. Brother must be an innate. Yu Bing quickly denied, afraid that she would really be mistaken if she said it. Xiao-san, why didn't you tell me earlier? Boo-hoo, I'm too happy. Yu is so moved that she covered her face and cried, her tears dripping down from the gaps between her fingers. As for Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the others, they had already hugged each other tightly, jumping and jumping in joy. They couldn't believe it. They felt that this was a dream, but they would rather never wake up from this dream. It would be so beautiful forever. The Xie clan's guard were all sitting on the ground dejectedly. Some were happy, while others were sad. They wanted to cry now, but they couldn't. Xie Tao, Xie Tu, and Xie Nu's faces were pale. It was too late for them to regret. If they didn't rush to attack the Yu clan, if they investigated clearly, if they didn't ask Elder Song and he from the Green Summit sect to help them, if they didn't invite all the rankers from Zijin Kingdom to besiege the Yu clan. Countless mistakes, any one of them could be fatal. What should they do now? Although Xie Tu was the Xie clan's wise man, he didn't know how to think anymore. Yu clan's disciple Yu Yang, as the head of the Innate Alliance's 10 directors, I invite you to join the Innate Alliance. Please go to the Xian Yuan residence in the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower on the 18th day of the 9th month. This is the proof that you are an innate ranker and also the innate heavenly badge that belongs solely to you. Elder Nangong passed a dazzling star badge to Yu Yang. On it, there were ancient runes as the border and the moon as the decoration. There was also a diamond-like star attached to it. The light was so bright that it was hard to look at it directly. Everyone looked at it with respect and envy. It was the symbol of an innate ranker. Even if it was only innate level 1, it was still the highest hope of the world. There were thousands of warriors in the world. There were only a few people who could obtain this kind of innate heavenly badge. Normally, it would take decades or even centuries for an innate ranker to be born. An innate ranker who was as young as Yu Yang was definitely an unprecedented existence. Elder Yu Hai and the others surrounded him. Although they couldn't reach the innate realm, it would be good to see the innate heavenly badge up close. Just when everyone was admiring the innate heavenly badge excitedly, Qing Song and he suddenly pounced towards them with ferocious expressions as if they wanted to snatch it away. Jun Weiyu, Elder Yu Hai, Old Cunning Fox, Feng Kuang, Eagle-Eyed Xia Hou Jie, and the others were furious. Were these two old fellows crazy? How could they snatch the innate heavenly badge away? Everyone gathered their greatest battle strength, preparing to join forces to deal a fatal blow to the two old fellows. Feng Xiaoyun, Shui Wendao, Yin Xian Li, and the others also gathered around Yang. As long as Qing Song and he tried to snatch it away, they would also attack. Even Dragon Ambassador by Bo from the Eastern Ocean Crystal Palace, the red-haired man from the Western Lion Pagoda, and Elder Ku Ming from the Southern Floating Mist Sect immediately summoned their beasts and prepared to stop this crazy act. If the news of someone snatching an innate ranker's innate heavenly badge in front of everyone was spread out, it would become the soaring dragon continent's greatest shame. Elder Song, Elder you can't. Xie Tu and Xie Nu, the two level 7 overlords, rushed out and hugged Qing Song and his thighs tightly. That badge belongs to us. This brat only has the strength of a level 6 elder, at most. What right does he have to obtain the innate heavenly badge? That badge belongs to us. We are the ones who are the closest to the innate realm. Could it be that we, the two of us, are inferior to a little kid? I can't accept this. This innate heavenly badge belongs to me. I have trained hard for 250 years. What right does this brat have to snatch away my innate heavenly badge? Ching Song's eyes were bloodshot as he roared crazily. His legs shook, and an explosion like shock waves spread out. Sietu vomited blood from the shock, but he still didn't let go. Ching Song forcefully pulled Sietu's arms away and threw him away like a little chick. On the other side, Xianu escaped hurriedly before he could do anything. He realized that Elder Song and Elder he had gone completely crazy. The fact that they couldn't become innates was a huge blow to them. First, they lost their face, then they became crazy with jealousy. These two seniors who were highly respected by warriors couldn't control their greed and became two unscrupulous lunatics. Yu Yang gently separated the people who were protecting him and walked out of the crowd. He stretched out his hand towards Ching Song and He, who had bloodshot eyes. He opened his palm and showed them the innate heavenly badge. The innate heavenly badge is here. Do you have the ability to take it? Go to hell, little brat. Ching Song and he summoned their beasts respectively. Their powerful aura was like a passing hurricane, blowing away all the warriors who were above level 6 Elder. Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the Li brothers were blown back more than 10 meters before they could stand still. On the other hand, Yu Bing had already gotten used to maintaining her battle state under her brother's guidance. Almost as soon as Ching Song and he went berserk, she would immediately summon her grimoire. She was extremely fast and nimble. Even Elder Ningong would glance at her unintentionally. Green Pine Tree and Black Crane charged forward with an unstoppable momentum, bringing with them the power of a tornado. Everyone saw that these two guys had gone completely crazy. Just when everyone was ready to fight, two rays of silver light flashed across the sky like meteors. In a flash, they had reached the back of Ching Song and He. A small hand was raised. To Jun Wu Yu and the others, this small hand was like a giant dragon's claw. It pressed on the back of Ching Song's head, easily pressing Ching Song, who was rushing towards Yu Yang, to the ground. On the other side, the same thing happened. He was pressed on the back of his head by a small hand as he was forcefully pressed into the ground. The whole ground shook, but there was no sound of explosion. However, after a long time, people could still hear the dull tremors coming from the ground. It was as if there was an ancient giant beast drilling into the ground. When the dust settled, everyone saw the two female guards with silver wings and silver armors pressing Ching Song and He, who were level 8 emperors, to the ground. Ching Song and He, who were level 8 emperors, were like insects in front of them. They were completely defenseless. They couldn't even struggle. Elder Nangong, these two dared to attack. Innates, do you want to kill them? The female guard on the left stood up and threw Ching Song, whose bones were all broken, on the ground as if she was throwing rubbish. She then bowed to Elder Nangong and asked, "Let's deal with them later." Elder Nangong acted as if he didn't see Ching Song and He. He only looked at Yu Yang and asked with a smile, "My friend Yu Yang, do you wish to join the innate alliance now, or stay in the soaring dragon continent for a while and join us 9 months later? If you are willing, you can follow me now. In the Tong Tian 6th floor, you will obtain everything that an innate ranker has. I personally wish for you to follow me, because you have a lot of things to learn. It might be better to join us 9 months earlier than to stay. If you stay, your surroundings might not be suitable for training. Of course, I will definitely respect your wishes. What's your answer?" Everyone looked at Yu Yang, waiting for him to say something. According to Yu Bing's mentality, she couldn't bear to part with her brother, but she didn't want to hinder her brother's future. Instead, she looked at him with encouragement. "Do I need to pay a membership fee to join the Innate Alliance? If I do, I won't join. Oh yeah, what are the benefits of becoming an Innate Ranker? Do you guys get divine equipment or divine beasts as gifts?" Yu Yang kept the innate heavenly badge and asked again. His words shocked everyone. Others couldn't even dream of getting an invitation from the Innate Alliance, but he actually had conditions to join. Chapter 2:13. There's no need to pay. When new members join, not only will we not ask for items, we will also give them some free aid so that they can quickly adapt to the training in Tong Tian Tower. At the same time, they will also sign an alliance contract. Because innate rankers are too strong, they can easily cause a large number of casualties in the Soaring Dragon continent. Hence, under normal circumstances, we ask innate rankers to abide by the alliance contract and try not to fight in the Soaring Dragon continent. In the higher levels of Tong Tian Tower, there's a world that is thousands of times bigger than the Soaring Dragon continent. Innate rankers can use their own strength to obtain their own territory. They can do whatever they want without any restrictions. The innate alliance contract is only effective in the Soaring Dragon continent. This is also our innate alliance's protection for the Soaring Dragon continent. Elder Ningong patiently explained to Yu Yang. That won't do. What if someone wants to kill me? For example, those two lunatics just now. If I don't do anything, do I have to stretch my neck and let them kill me? Yu Yang discontentedly objected. Innate rankers have the right to kill any warrior who tries to harm an innate ranker, no matter what the reason is. Elder Nangong said with certainty. When the people from the Xie clan heard this, they shuddered in unison. They were doomed. They were completely in the line of fire. Now that Yu Yang didn't have time to care about them, Xie Tu and the others also didn't dare to sneak away. If the two silver-winged female guards attacked again, the whole Xie clan would probably be annihilated. It was impossible for a normal warrior to fight against an innate ranker. Xie Tu had already made the decision to cut his losses and protect the Xie clan. Feng Xiaoyun, Shui Wendao, Yin Xianzhong, and the others all pricked up their ears to listen. This was a rare opportunity. Normally, Elder Nangong would come to the Soaring Dragon continent quietly. It was a rare opportunity for him to welcome Yu Yang openly like this. Everyone could also learn more about innate rankers. Although they might not be able to reach the innate realm, there is still hope. Furthermore, this information would be very useful to the younger generation. In their hearts, they couldn't wait for Yu Yang to ask more questions so that they could understand more. Yu Yang had already become an innate ranker. It was too late for everyone to be jealous of him. If they wanted to play tricks on him, they would only be courting death. The only way was to repair their relationship with the Yu clan. The rise of the Yu clan was already unstoppable. Even if the innate ranker, Yu Yang, did not interfere with the Yu clan's affairs, with his existence, the Yu clan would not have to worry about anything. Things like the Xie clan and the Zijin kingdom's rankers attacking the Yu clan castle today would probably never happen again. As for the Shui clan, everyone knew that they had already become pigs for Yu Yang to slaughter. The people from the Xie clan would die a horrible death, but it would not be a waste of their lives. This was because they had all died of stupidity. They had never seen an idiot who mistook a sister and her brother as an adulterous couple. They had also never seen an idiot who called a princess a slut in front of the emperor. They had never seen an idiot who dared to snatch the innate heavenly badge in front of an innate ranker. They reap what they sow. What's up with these two chicks? Yu Yang's level 4, divine vision, could see through the secrets of the two silver-winged female guards. He was very curious. If a new innate ranker reaches the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower for the first time, they might get caught up in endless battles and be unable to cultivate. Usually, if there were some small matters or battles, they could actually let their subordinates handle them. Hence, the innate alliance would introduce some revered martial guards to the new innate rankers. They would be hired by the new innate rankers to assist them in handling various matters. Their levels range from level 6 to level 9 in the Soaring Dragon continent. There are even innate rankers. Every revered martial guard has different abilities. Their employment conditions are also different. Generally speaking, the higher the level, the stronger the ability, the higher the employment conditions. Elder Ningong explained patiently. Then they're the mercenaries that you're trying to sell to me? Revered martial guards? Then how much would it cost to buy them? Yu Yang was very interested in buying beauties. Moreover, these two beauties were very good at fighting. You can't buy them no matter how much money you have. They are not revered martial guards, but war god guards with higher intelligence and more potential. Generally speaking, They would take the initiative to choose innate rankers with potential to assist them and level up together. It is impossible for normal innate rankers to have war god guards. When Elder Nan Gong said this, everyone was so envious that they started drooling. From Elder Nan Gong's words, one could come to a conclusion. That was that Yu Yang was not a normal innate, but an innate with great potential. This was because Elder Nan Gong had brought along war god guards that other innates did not have. The only one who was a little jealous was Princess Sisai. This brat had always been a playboy. He was definitely a big pervert. Now, he even gave him 2 beautiful war god guards. How could this be? If this went on, it would be strange if he didn't forget his original sweetheart. This was not good. Could it be that the war god guards didn't have any monsters? Princess Sisai's imagination ran wild. Her heart was sour. She originally wanted to reject them on behalf of Yu Yang, but she was not related to him at all. She was really infuriated. Then did they take a fancy to me? Free of charge? As Yu Yang fantasized, he felt extremely happy in his heart. Ever since he was born, he had always been loved by little Lolis the most, but he had always been treated as an enemy by big sisters. He had never seen any big sister fall in love with him at first sight. His charm could only defeat little Lolis in an instant. Now, fate had finally changed. Big sisters had finally sent themselves to his doorstep. Innates were really awesome. Even without stepping out of his house, there were still beauties throwing themselves at him. This kind of blissful sexual life was really too blissful. Yu Yang was so touched that he almost cried. My friend Yu Yang, these 2 are the war god guards that Ji Zun personally chose for you. I think that they probably don't know you. If you have any questions, you can ask them directly. Elder Nan Gong coughed slightly. He really wanted to remind this brat not to be too optimistic. Even if he had potential, who would know that there was a young innate with great potential in the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower? If she didn't give him 2 of her war god guards, how could he obtain the war god guards without even joining the innate alliance? That was definitely impossible. The 2 of us are the Eastern Goblin Tribe's dragon ladies. Although we have Ji Zun's orders, we can't be sure that you are the master that we need to follow. We need to find an innate ranker that can help us improve. Right now, we can't be sure that you have that kind of ability. So, we won't immediately contract with you, unless you can prove that your potential is higher than ours. The heroic war god guard on the left opened his mouth and poured a bucket of cold water on Yu Yang. It turned out that they were not obedient, but had their own thoughts. We might not necessarily contract with you. The war god guard on the right was not as serious as the one on the left. It was more cute. If you go to the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower and test your potential and confirm that you're useful to us in the future, then we will consider. The war god guard on the left stated another condition. Consider. The war god guard on the right added another sentence cutely. Boring, so troublesome. Forget it, you guys can go back. I have plenty of beauties. I don't care about the war god guards at all. Aren't they just 2 dragon ladies? There's nothing to be proud of. Just one sentence, I don't want them. Yu Yang waved his hands like a man. He looked cool on the outside, but his heart was bleeding. These 2 top-grade dragon ladies, he was really stupid to dismiss them just like that. Fatty Hai and Yi Kong were shocked. He didn't want the war god guards? Forget about them. Even Elder Yu Hai and Junwu Yu felt that it was inconceivable. What was wrong with this brat, even rejecting the war god guards? What a boring man's self-esteem. Princess Sisai had an extremely strong 6 records. She could tell that Yu Yang's words were a little insincere. It wasn't that this brat despised the war god guards, but the words of these 2 war god guards had aroused his self-esteem. Hence, he would rather reject them than listen to their conditions. If they wanted to talk about conditions, it should be him, the master, who would rather not have them. Now, Princess Sisai finally understood what kind of person Yu Yang was. Her lips curled into a smile. She wanted to laugh secretly, but she was afraid that he would be angry. She secretly punched him with her little fist. When Yu Yang glared at her, Princess Sisai smiled gently at him. I support you. You lost 2 girls. I will compensate you with fallen flowers and wuxia, and also an An. That was originally mine. When Yu Yang remembered that he still had city mistress fallen flowers, the mysterious beauty, and the girl in Anne, he felt a little better. Since that's the case, shall we go back? Are you really not going to follow us to the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower to test your potential? Can we really go now? The war god guard on the left looked at Yu Yang with a questioning look, as if he was a little surprised that he would chase him away. I won't send you off. Yu Yang looked tough, but he really wanted to beat himself up in his heart. Such a good dragon lady. How could he give up just like that? He really let Xian, this tigress, get to the point. For the sake of his self-esteem, he gave up the 2 dragon ladies. It would have been great to have a threesome with them, but there was no hope now. Elder Nan Gong suddenly clapped his hands and praised. Yu Yang, my little friend, Jizun had mentioned you to me 3 times. She said that you are a person who likes freedom. Your actions are spontaneous, your thoughts are not bound, your will is free, and you hate restrictions and rules. It seems that she is right. However, I can assure you that the innate alliances covenant is definitely not a rule to restrict innates. It is a kind of protection for the soaring dragon continent. Let me ask you, before you became an innate, if not for the innate alliances covenant, countless enemies would have killed you a long time ago. Would you be where you are today? That's why we need to restrict innates' movements in the soaring dragon continent. If it's somewhere else, innates can do whatever they want. As long as they have the ability, innates can do whatever they want. There are no restrictions at all. They are much freer than you are in the soaring dragon continent. Although Yu Yang was a little tempted, he was not willing to go to the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower to be tortured. In the soaring dragon continent, he was an existence that rarely met enemies. Other than the heavenly imperial guardians and other rankers, no one else could threaten his life. However, the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower was different. The Thousand Goblin sect leader was waiting to find trouble with him. If he did not have the power of innate level 5 or above, he would definitely not go to the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower. Otherwise, he might be plotted against by the Thousand Goblin sect leader. Although picking up girls was very important, safety first. If he was alive, he would get girls. Otherwise, if he died, then fallen flowers and the others would become widows. How pitiful would that be? On the left, the serious-looking war god guard flew over and handed Yu Yang a crescent-shaped silver ornament. Jizun said that if you reject our request, then we will pass this to you. Yu Yang was sweating profusely. It seemed like the mysterious introducer, the royal sister, had already known that he would reject them. What is this? Yu Yang realized that this item looked as ordinary as a black jade necklace. However, in reality, it was a treasure that could not be seen through even with his level 4 divine vision. The cute war god guard on the right nodded and said in her usual tone, "Good stuff." Chapter 214. Good stuff? Of course he would keep it. Yu Yang didn't even hesitate for a second. Princess Sisai was originally very curious about this half-moon-shaped silver ornament. She wanted to take a closer look, but who knew that this miser would keep it? She really wanted to strangle him to death. Elder Nan Gong bowed slightly to Jun Wuyu, then nodded to Yu Yang. He gracefully performed a common etiquette between innate rankers. My little friend Yu Yang, since you are willing to stay in the soaring dragon continent temporarily, let's meet again 9 months later. Yu Yang thought to himself, if he hadn't reached innate level 5 in 9 months, then he wouldn't have signed that innate alliance contract. It's fine even if he didn't sign it. Who would be so bored? In the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower, there was the Thousand Goblin sect leader, that treacherous man who was waiting to cause trouble for him. Unless the mysterious introducer, the royal sister, personally came to fetch him, that would be different. At that time, he might even be able to see the Night Empress' real face. Also, he must smell the Impatience's body fragrance. Was it a virgin's body fragrance? He had to figure this out. If it was, then he might as well push down the Impatience as well. Who asked her to tease him time and time again? If he didn't push her down, she would push him down sooner or later. While Yu Yang was letting his imagination run wild, Elder Nangong had already waved his hand to everyone and left. The 2 war god attendants also opened their respective teleportation scrolls and left. However, when they left, they turned back at the same time and looked at Yu Yang. Their eyes were a little complicated. Princess Sisai felt that she had to be more careful of this kind of eyes in the future. This brat already had enough girls by his side. If there were 2 more dragon ladies, then she wouldn't even have a place to stand. Hence, she had to warn him not to be like her father, that muddle-headed ruler. If 3 or 4 girls were all her sisters, then it's fine. But don't let the whole harem come out, otherwise, she wouldn't let him off. What are you thinking? He's long gone. Princess Sisai stretched out her fair finger and lightly tapped Yu Yang's forehead. I was wondering how much the prize money for the 100 Schools Elite Tournament would be. When Yu Yang said this, everyone was stunned. This brat was already an innate, yet he still wanted to participate in the 100 Schools Elite Tournament. What was there left for them to fight? He could torture them all to death. Don't worry, I've already signed you up. One is the team competition, and the other is the individual comprehensive challenge. It's a pity that you weren't interested at that time. Otherwise, you could have signed up for the individual combat skill challenge or the individual beast challenge. That way, you could have won all 3 championships. Fatty Hai couldn't help but feel regretful. He already knew that Yu Yang had the ability to become the champion, but at that time, Yu Yang wasn't interested in participating, so he didn't dare to help Yu Yang register for another event. Kid, are you really going to compete? Even the old fox couldn't stand it. Although the old fox wanted the Ivy Academy to become the champion, he felt that Yu Yang was too much of a bully for an innate like him to participate in the 100 Schools Elite Tournament. What if he bullied other people's children until they cried? When Yu Yang heard this, he immediately objected. Hey, I'm not a student. I also have the right to participate in the 100 Schools Elite Tournament. Students have the right to participate. There's no rule saying that innates can't participate. Furthermore, I don't have any innate strength now. I had overexerted myself when I killed Tu Chung. Now, a righteous person like Xie Qianxiu, the son of the Xie clan's clan leader, could easily kill me. I risked my life to participate in the tournament, and you're criticizing me instead of supporting me? Everyone was sweating profusely. Forget about Xie Qianxiu. Even if all the rankers in the Xie clan were to join forces, they wouldn't even be able to be crushed by you. Saying all these was just to find trouble with the Xie clan. Right now, the Xie clan was like a stray dog. No one was willing to help them. Going against an innate, wasn't that the same as seeking death? Forget about the outsiders. Even the Zijin Kingdom's warriors, the level 6 elders and the level 7 overlords who had secretly helped the Xie family, had quietly left the Xie family's side, drawing a clear line between themselves and the Xie family. Without an innate ranker, the Yu clan could not be easily bullied. Now that the Yu clan had an innate ranker, they were like ferocious tigers. No matter how many people came, they would all die. Even an idiot would not help the Xie clan to start a war with the Yu clan. I was wrong. Boo-hoo, I've been blinded by lard. I'm ungrateful. I'm not human. Old Marshal, on account of the fact that you've led us to war in the past, please spare our Xie clan. I'll beg for your forgiveness and kowtow to you. Xie Tao suddenly knelt down and cried bitterly. He then started to slap himself until his face swelled up like a pig's head. Blood flowed from his nose. Xie Tao then crawled to Elder Yu Hai's feet and kowtowed nonstop. As a clan leader, he acted like a scoundrel. If you don't forgive me, I'll cry myself to death in front of you. Xie Tu, Xie Nu, and the others also signaled all the Xie clan members and guards to kneel down. The humiliation of kneeling was insignificant compared to the extermination of their clan. With so many rankers watching, no matter how cruel Elder Yu Hai was, he would not order the extermination of the Xie clan. No matter how severe the punishment was, it would not be to the extent of extermination. On the contrary, if they stubbornly resisted to the end, there was no need for Yu Yang that innate to do anything. Many rankers would take the initiative to exterminate the Xie clan. In any case, extermination of the Xie clan was not a bad thing for them. This way, they would have one less competitor. Grandpa, let's deal with it. I personally think that we should punish them severely. Yu Yang picked up Qing Song and Hei He, who were on the verge of death, and turned to leave. Yu Yang's words and actions were very appropriate. He was an innate. His words carried a lot of weight. Elder Yu Hai could use his words as an excuse, It was impossible for the Xie clan to escape punishment. He was also a junior. If he raised his butcher's knife and exterminated the Xie clan in front of everyone, the elders would definitely feel embarrassed. It would also easily leave an irreparable psychological scar on the other clans. Now that he turned around and left, it proved that he, an innate, did not care about worldly affairs. He had already left enough face for everyone. In their hearts, everyone would definitely be very grateful. Elder Yuhai looked at Yu Yang and nodded secretly. If his son, Yu Qiu, were to deal with this matter, he would definitely not be able to do it. His character was too upright. He did not understand and did not like to use the means of superior. This Xiao San was indeed more outstanding than his father. Jun Wuyu and the old cunning fox also nodded secretly. Even the ferocious Zhang, Fei-like eastern sky king's eyes lit up. Other than them, the Shui clan's Shui, Wen Dao, Feng clan's Feng Xiao Yun, Yin clan's Yin Xianzhong, and a few others could see through it. In the Xie clan, only Xie Tu was not sad after hearing Yu Yang's words. Instead, he was happy. If Yu Yang had left without a word, Xie Tu reckoned that he would have found his way to the Xie clan and exterminated the entire Xie clan. Xie Tu definitely believed that this Yu clan's third young master was the kind of ruthless person who would exterminate the roots. Now that he said that he would punish them severely, he would not only use the Xie clan to establish his might, he would also let them live to show the Yu clan's benevolence. Him handing this matter over to old Marshal Yu to handle was already the greatest grace he could muster. With old Marshal Yu handling this matter, the Xie clan would definitely not be exterminated. Xie Tu heaved a sigh of relief. Looking at Yu Yang's back again, his eyes were filled with gratitude. If he was an innate, he would definitely not let his enemy go so easily. This might be the reason why Yu Yang was already an innate at such a young age, while he was only a level 7 overlord after training for so many years. Elder Yuhai's first condition was for everyone to keep the secret that Yu Yang was already an innate ranker. Elder Yuhai knew that he couldn't hide this matter for too long. However, he would hide it for as long as he could. This precious grandson of his still had a lot of things to do in the soaring dragon continent. It wouldn't be a good thing to reveal his strength to the public now. At the very least, he couldn't let anyone spread the news that Yu Yang was an innate to the world. If some people secretly spread the news, he definitely wouldn't be able to control it completely. He could only ban it openly. Princess Sisai and the others didn't stay at the bottom of the Yu clan village to see how Elder Yuhai would deal with the Xie clan. Instead, they quickly caught up to Yu Yang. They were all very curious. How could Yu Yang be an innate at such a young age? Yu Bing and Yu couldn't understand it all. However, Princess Sisai felt that Yu Yang becoming an innate might be related to the ancient runes on the cliff at the Cloud Peak Lake. Of course, it was related to his own innate talent. Countless people had climbed that cliff before, but he was the only one who could trigger the ancient rune circle. He could even lead everyone to reap the benefits together. Fatty Hai, Yi Kong, and the Li brothers were overjoyed. They couldn't imagine how Yu Yang became an innate ranker, but they didn't bother to ask. They only knew that their future would be bright if they followed Yu Yang. Are you really going to participate in the 100 Schools Elite Tournament? That's so boring. Why don't we go and do the World Tree Quest? Also, are you not going to clear the Gemini Temple? Princess Sisai wasn't willing to participate in the 100 Schools Elite Tournament because she was already invincible in the 100 Schools Elite Tournament. Qian, this year's 100 Schools Elite Tournament is a little different from the previous years. It's no longer the 3 great killing stars, but the 3 rising stars. The one who has the highest chance of winning is the Floating Mist Sect's junior sect leader. The second one is the Zijin Kingdom's prince, a proud disciple of the Western Lion Pagoda. It's said that he's the first super genius who could defeat the 3 elders of the Western Lion Pagoda. His strength can't be underestimated. Yu Yu's words hinted to Princess Sisai to be careful, because her pursuers had already arrived. When the time comes, she shouldn't fight with Yu Yang because of this. All right then, I'll also participate. But I'll only participate in the group competition. Princess Sisai looked at Yu gratefully. The 2 girls looked at each other and smiled. Who's the 3rd rising star? Yu Bing asked excitedly. It's the Tian Luo Kingdom's prince. It's said that he's the most handsome man in the world by all the female students. When he smiles, he can make people fall head over heels for him. When he walks on the streets, countless people would crash into cars, pillars, and walls. In short, no matter if it's a man or a woman, they can't help but admire him when they see him. It's a pity that this Tian Luo Kingdom's prince is an ice prince. He's not interested in anyone and only likes to train and train beasts. Otherwise, girls who are willing to throw themselves at him would line up for him to choose from. Yu Yu's words reminded Princess Sisai not to look at handsome men. Yu could see that her brother's jealousy was even fiercer than a tsunami. Is it really that exaggerated? Princess Sisai expressed her disbelief, but she was still vigilant. She must never talk about handsome men or handsome men in front of Yu Yang in the future. This brat's magnanimity was really not that great. Furthermore, this brat's looks were not bad. Although he wasn't as exaggerated as someone who could make people fall head over heels for him with just a smile, the more she looked at him, the more she felt that he was pleasing to the eye. Yu Yang, this brat, belonged to the type that was bad-looking, but also very pleasing to the eye. Princess Sisai felt that if this brat didn't look like a pervert all day long as he was serious, he would immediately be 10 times more handsome. Yu Yang didn't know the thoughts of Yu and Princess Sisai, so he couldn't understand their sisterly conversation. However, he was very unhappy that there was someone who was more handsome than him in this world. I hate all creatures that are more handsome than me. I will kill them without mercy. When Fatty Hai heard Yu Yang's sour and murderous words, he jumped in fright and patted his chest. Luckily, I look very safe. Looks like looking safe is also a kind of luck. However, Yi Kong was suspicious. Isn't your view of beauty different? Most of the handsome men that girls like are weak, pretty boys. We guys don't think that's handsome. The 3 great killing stars and the 3 great rising stars. This year's 100 Schools Elite Tournament will be very interesting. Yu Bing felt that the more experts there were, the better. The more experts her brother defeated, the more impressive he would be. It's not only the 6 experts. There's also the Holy Spear Lady Knight from Tian Luo Fragrance Academy, Dragon Ambassador Qin Lanyu from Eastern Ocean Crystal Palace, and so on. They are all hot favorites to win the championship. Their odds in the Thief Guild's underground betting market are almost the same as the 3 great killing stars. Yu Yang didn't doubt Yu Yu's words, but he felt a little strange. Why did so many young experts suddenly appear? Everyone is secretly grooming young experts. Maybe it's because the situation in the soaring dragon continent is getting worse and the competition between the various countries is getting fiercer, so they want to start from the younger generation. This is also considered a probing attack. Princess Sisai realized that this 100 Schools Elite Tournament was not simple. Vaguely, it had become a chessboard for the various countries. The younger generation, on the other hand, had become the probing chess pieces for the various countries or powerful forces. If there were people who participated in the tournament without any political motives, it would probably only be Yu Yang, Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the Li brothers. Yu Yang thought for a while and felt that there were still a few days before the preliminary round. If he started preparing now, he could still make it in time. Yu Yang didn't need to prepare too much for himself. He only needed to train Yu Bing and give some pointers to Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the others at the same time. Returning to the first floor of Tong Tian Tower, Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the others went to the Wild Bull Valley quest to collect 10 Bull King's horns. On the other hand, Yu Bing followed Yu Yang into the Gemini Temple once again. Although they still managed to escape from the Gemini Temple in the end, Yu Yang had confirmed many things in his heart. He had even discovered some details that Yu Yu's Grandmaster did not notice. With regards to the Gemini Temple, Yu Yang started to have some confidence. However, he needed to prepare a lot. Compared to preparing for the 100 Schools Elite Tournament, it was 100 times more difficult. For example, the most important one was to learn City Mistress Fallen Flowers' silent death technique. If he didn't know this, he wouldn't be able to break through the Shadow Clone. City Mistress Fallen Flowers, the most beautiful girl in my heart. Fallen Flowers, I miss you. Time passes quickly, and almost a month has passed. I want to remind the beautiful city mistress that your salary hasn't been paid yet. I hope that before I die of hunger or lovesickness in the Winchim Hotel, I can see your beautiful figure in front of me. Yu Yang wrote a letter to City Mistress Fallen Flowers. At the end, he signed, "Your most loyal personal guard captain who is willing to work overtime for free and volunteer to warm your bed." Princess Sisai didn't have any objections to the signature, but she was very dissatisfied with the 3 words in the first sentence. She felt that if he didn't remove the words "the most beautiful," it would be better to change it to another name. To this, Yu Yang's reply was, Go, stay away from me. Don't hinder me from picking up girls. If you want to pick up girls, that's fine too. Who asked you to put on such a smelly princess attitude? It's not easy for me to write a love letter to pick up girls. Do you think it's easy for me? What did you say? Princess Sisai raised her fist. She didn't care whether Yu Yang was an innate or not. If he dared to tease her, she would beat him up first. Don't be angry, girl. I'll give you a smile. Yu Yang saw that the situation wasn't good. He didn't know how the vinegar jar outside would react, but the vinegar jar at home was about to collapse. He quickly used his 36 ways of stripping. Oh no, it was 36 ways of coaxing. For his future blissful sexual life, he decided to take down this rouge tigress first. As expected, it was effective. When Yu Yang used his coaxing skills, Princess Sisai immediately giggled and laughed. In the end, she rolled her eyes at him with her tiger-like eyes. That girlish pout almost made Yu Yang's bones go soft. All right, if this tigress was cute, she would be invincible. Chapter 215. City Mistress Fallen Flowers really came, although she had been hiding from Yu Yang ever since she saved Fourth Mother. However, when Yu Yang needed her help, she came without hesitation and taught Yu Yang the feigned death peacefulness technique at the first moment. Although the girls felt that Yu Yang was a pervert, they couldn't deny that he was a martial arts genius. Before Yu Bing could even comprehend 10% of it, this brat had already learnt the feigned death peacefulness technique. However, Yu Yang still needed Yu Bing's help to clear the Gemini Temple, so Yu Bing had no choice but to learn it. Regarding this, Yu Yang hesitated for a long time before deciding to tell them about body fusion. Of course, he wouldn't say that he had the divine vision inherent skill and could see the secret technique in his parents' diary. This brat pretended to be the pitiful guy and said that his mother had taught him when he was young. Body fusion. Princess Sisai's first reaction was to suspect that this brat was trying to take advantage of everyone. Brother's body fusion is very useful. When he pulls my hand and transmits his spiritual chi to me, I can immediately summon the Treant without any effort. Yu Bing was the one who supported Yu Yang the most, and she didn't think that there was anything wrong with it. Princess Sisai and City Mistress Fallen Flowers looked at Yu Yang with a Eurysiscon look. Yu also blushed a little, but she pretended to be confused and changed the topic. She asked about the details of Yu Yang and Yu Bing's battle in the Taurus Temple. Yu Bing was very honest and told her sister everything. No one doubted her. After discussing for a while, they decided to let Yu Yang test the effects of body fusion on everyone. You guys are thinking too much. Yu Yang tried to explain himself, but when the girls heard it, they felt that this brat was hiding something. After the 3 girls sensed Yu Yang's body fusion, innate chi, they gathered again to discuss. They couldn't deny the effects. The effect was definitely good, extremely good. However, they always felt that Yu Yang's true chi was a little strange when it flowed through their bodies. It was as if this kid could see inside their bodies, which made them feel a little embarrassed. Castellan Fallen Flowers and Princess Sisai were slightly better because they both had him in their hearts. Although they did not admit it, they knew very well how they felt in their hearts. Yu, the cousin, felt a little awkward. She did not know if she should refuse or not. If she refused, it would easily arouse Yu Bing's suspicion. Moreover, she would also miss out on this special cultivation method. The secret cultivation method from 10,000 years ago was the dream of everyone. It would be a pity to give it up. She didn't reject him because she was his cousin, and it was a little awkward. In the end, it was still Castellan Fallen Flowers who was more free and easy. Everyone, don't think about it. Cultivation is cultivation. As long as your heart is righteous, what's wrong with that? We definitely can't miss out on the secret cultivation method that has been lost for 10,000 years. Most importantly, you're the only healer. You won't be of much use in the lower levels of Tong Tian Tower, but once we reach the 4th level and above, we will fall into endless battles. The beasts there are innumerable. If we don't have a healer, we will all die of exhaustion. With body fusion, Yu Yang can double your strength, and he can also connect our bodies. Everyone can heal and recover together. This way, everyone's lives will be more secure. When she said that, Princess Sisai and Yu were relieved. It wasn't a bad thing. It was just siblings joining hands to fight together. What was there to be afraid of? After the discussion, everyone accepted the body fusion with a clear conscience. However, they didn't mention it normally, in case it would be awkward if they did. When Yu Yang was researching more secrets of body fusion, Castellan Fallen Flowers wrote a letter. Yu Yang suspected that the letter was written to the mysterious beauty who loved to read books, but Castellan Fallen Flowers refused to let him read it no matter what. At the same time, she denied it flatly, making Yu Yang's heart itch. Body fusion was very profound. Furthermore, there was some content in the later stages that could only be done by intimate couples or even husband and wife. Yu Yang didn't dare to say those things out now. He only said the most basic and shallow parts of body fusion and demonstrated it to the 3 girls together with Yu Bing. Because Yu Bing's heart was pure and flawless, she didn't think too much about it. She could meditate very easily, allowing Yu Yang to control her body in just a few seconds. She was the most successful and effective one among the 4 girls. Castellan Fallen Flowers was also not bad. After failing more than 10 times, she successfully fused with Yu Yang to form dual aurora. That kind of power increased by 10 times, causing Princess Sisai to be so envious that she almost meowed like a cat. Yu failed more than 30 times, but she could also join hands with Yu Yang to summon healing water that had double the effect. Her spirit spring inherent skill had leveled up the moment she successfully fused with Yu Yang. From the original level 2, clear gurgling spring, it leveled up to level 3, spirit chi fountain. With this spirit chi fountain, the girl's recovery speed had increased by at least 3 times, and the interval between summoning beasts had also been greatly reduced. However, this was not very useful to Yu Yang, because Yu Yang's summons were all abnormal existences. One summon of a shadow would last for 10 days, while those like Little Wen Li would exist forever without any time limit. The spirit chi fountain, its greatest help to Yu Yang, was to let Yu Yang gradually master the power of inability. Among the 4 girls, the one who suffered the most was Princess Sisai. Because her 6 records inherent skill was the strongest, her senses were very strong, and she was used to controlling her body. She was not used to Yu Yang's innate chi entering her body. After failing a total of 500 times, he only succeeded once. Yu Yang was so tired that he almost fell to the ground. The effect of Princess Sisai's success was even more terrifying than City Mistress Fallen Flowers' aurora. In Yu Yang's hands, she seemed to have become an invincible human weapon. Her beast power could be added to Yu Yang's body, and Yu Yang's Yang ability, spherical beheader, space teleportation, and other ultimate skills could be used as he wished on Princess Sisai's body. However, after succeeding once, Princess Sisai refused to let Yu Yang touch her body no matter what, even if it was just her arm. Bing Air is still the most obedient. Who am I working so hard for? It's all for you guys to level up. Yu Yang had been secretly taking advantage of them these few days. His innate chi had flowed through the 4 girls' meridians. It was no wonder that they were embarrassed. And Yu Bing was very happy to receive her brother's praise. Although Princess Sisai and City Mistress Fallen Flowers would usually pout coquettishly at Yu Yang, when it came to training, they still obediently submitted to him. Even his cousin, Yu endured her embarrassment and actively trained with him. They had long realized that training with Yu Yang for a day was equivalent to a month's improvement. No wonder this brat was already an innate at the age of 20. His secret techniques and realm were really not something that normal warriors could imagine. The 100 Schools Elite Tournament was about to begin, but Yu Yang decided to go to the Gemini Temple before returning to the tournament. If he didn't take down the Gemini Temple, Yu Yang would always feel that he couldn't get over it, Star Domain, in front of the 12 Zodiac Temple's teleportation gate. Be careful. If you really can't get through, we'll think of another way. Don't you still have a girl who loves to read books? She's very smart. Why don't you ask her? Princess Sisai unexpectedly advised Yu Yang not to be rash. The Gemini Temple was indeed the hardest temple to challenge. No one had ever succeeded in the past 10,000 years, so it was normal for them to fail. I'll definitely succeed, I'm confident. Yu Yang was at least 80% confident. He felt that if he didn't guess wrongly, the key to breaking through the Gemini Temple was the word Gemini. It was impossible for a single person to break through. It needed two people. Furthermore, it had to be two Geminis whose hearts and minds were interlinked. The one who had the most heart and mind with Yu Yang was Yu Bing. She couldn't guess what Yu Yang was thinking, but she had absolute trust in her brother. Furthermore, she had opened her heart and mind to Yu Yang, allowing Yu Yang to control her body and turn the two of them into one. This would be the key to breaking through the Gemini Temple. City Mistress Fallen Flowers didn't say anything. She hugged Yu Yang with a little emotion. That day, she met him here for the first time. Time flew, and when they came here again, their identities were slightly different. From strangers who didn't know each other, they gradually became lovers. Yu Yang's heart was also filled with tenderness. He patted City Mistress Fallen Flowers' back lightly. Wait for me to come back. I'll definitely succeed. On the other side, Yu also hugged her sister Yu Bing. She reminded her to be careful and follow her brother closely. Back at the Gemini Temple, the scenery was the same as before. Bing Air, close your eyes. Yu Yang held onto Yu Bing's little hand and used body fusion to make Yu Bing enter into a state of suspended animation. Then, he summoned the quintet golden puppet mice that were harmless, and wouldn't receive any attacks. These quintet golden puppet mice were one of the keys to Yu Yang's success. Yu Bing fell into Yu Yang's embrace softly. Her breathing almost stopped. 1 minute later, Yu Yang hugged Yu Bing and lay down at the entrance of the Gemini Temple. The phantom shadow in the middle of the arena also fell to the ground. When Yu Yang's heart stopped beating and his mind went blank, Yu Yang's shadow clone disappeared. The ancient code had already thought that the person who was trying the challenge had fallen into a state of near death and was dying. Naturally, the shadow clone would have the same reaction, which was to disappear. Yu Bing's shadow also disappeared after Yu Yang's shadow disappeared. In the end, there was only a golden mask that was half crying and half smiling, lying quietly in the center of the arena. The quintet golden puppet mice followed Yu Yang's order before he entered into suspended animation and dragged the treasure, the golden mask, back. There were 5 shadow quintet golden puppet mice, but they didn't receive any orders and just stayed there quietly. After about half an hour, they returned to Yu Yang's side. After spending another 10 minutes, they finally covered Yu Yang's face with a golden mask. At the same time, the door of the Gemini Temple opened. The second shadow of Yu Yang immediately rushed out and flew towards Yu Yang. The second shadow was a smiling woman. Different from the first shadow who was wearing the golden mask, she was the other half of Gemini, the kind Gemini. According to Grandmaster Yu Yu's notes, as well as his own observations of the Gemini Temple, Yu Yang found out that the first shadow was the evil Gemini. Similar to Yu Yang, when his killing heart exploded, she was definitely an existence that killed without blinking. As for the second shadow clone, it was the kind Gemini shadow clone. She would stop the challenger from entering, but she would definitely not kill the challenger. She would only snatch the golden mask back and allow the first shadow clone to recover. One of the keys to success was to fight for the golden mask. Yu Yang could use the method of faking his death and the quintet golden puppet mice to obtain the golden mask. Once the golden mask was worn, the evil Gemini shadow would not appear again. As long as the golden mask returned to the huge circle in the middle of the arena, and Yu Yang woke up, the first evil Gemini shadow would immediately appear again and maintain the same battle power as Yu Yang. The second kind Gemini shadow was only responsible for guarding the Empress Temple. When the golden mask covered the challenger's face, the first evil Gemini shadow would disappear completely. Then she would leave the Empress Temple. The second key to success was to stop the second kind Gemini shadow. Originally, a gold-ranked level 6 existence was extremely difficult to defeat, but the kind Gemini would not kill the challenger. This was her only weakness. Little Wenli floated out from Yu Yang's body. First, she threw a clean ball of light at Yu Yang, helping him to recover quickly. At the same time, she immediately faced the second kind Gemini shadow. Little Wenli activated her binding inherent skill and waved her dual icicle blades at the same time, freezing her opponent. The stone element Medusa, Storm Mermaid, and Thunder Naga were all summoned to help in the battle, stopping the second kind Gemini shadow. Yu Yang, who had woken up, immediately carried Yu Bing and sprinted towards the Gemini Temple Empress Temple. The third key to success was on Yu Bing. As long as the last step was successful, then the Gemini Temple that made people feel hopeless would be cleared easily. I must succeed. The Gemini Temple that no one had been able to clear for 10,000 years was about to be cleared. Yu Yang's heart was beating rapidly, unable to control himself. Chapter 2:16. Yu Yang carried Yu Bing and rushed into the Gemini Temple rear hall. The second kind Gemini shadow tried to stop him, but was stopped by Little Wenli's binding chains inherent skill. Under the double attack of the binding chains inherent skill and dual icicle blades, her mobility was almost zero. Stone element Medusa, Storm Mermaid, and Thunder Naga rushed to the rear hall's entrance at the first moment and used their powerful skills to buy time for Yu Yang to enter the rear hall. The storm horn was blown. With the help of Stone Element Medusa and Thunder Naga, the storm summoned by Storm Mermaid engulfed the whole Gemini Temple's arena. As soon as the kind Gemini regained her mobility, the purple lightning would strike down. Little Wenli tried her best to stop the second kind Gemini shadow. She knew that the shadow in front of her would not be injured. No matter how heavy the attack, the shadow would recover to its original state. However, she continued to attack because the strength of the shadow would not increase. It would always be gold-ranked level 6. This was what Yu Yang was trying to do. Gold-ranked level 6. Although it was a holy beast with high intelligence, Little Wenli could still deal with it. The current Yu Yang did not care about the situation outside. He rushed into the rear hall and saw that there were 2 Gemini statues under the war god's wall. One of them was smiling while the other was gloomy. "It's you guys." Yu Yang hurriedly placed Yu Bing in front of the smiling Gemini statue and took out his crystal card, preparing to receive the reward for clearing the stage. Suddenly, a ray of light appeared behind him. In the void, a shadow flew out at an extremely fast speed. It was the kind Gemini shadow that was being held back by Little Wenli just now. The strength that she was using now was actually the same as when Yu Yang unlocked his innate rank. She teleported back from outside the rear hall and punched Yu Yang's back. Yu Yang didn't expect the clone to not only know how to teleport, but also reach the innate realm. When he was hit, he didn't even have the time to unseal himself to reach the innate realm. The heavy punches made Yu Yang see stars, and he felt dizzy and disoriented. His internal organs felt like they were being overturned. Now, Yu Yang finally had a taste of his own fist. In theory, the kind-hearted Gemini was as strong as he was. The terrifying power of the punch caused Yu Yang's back to feel like it was about to break. His ribs cracked, and fresh blood gushed out from his throat, spraying onto the golden mask and dripping onto Yu Bing's face. Yu Yang was afraid that his body would crush his sister if he leaned forward, so he gritted his teeth and withstood the thunderous punch. If it wasn't for the fact that he had learned the neutralizing force technique from the battle with the big lowly in the dream realm, this punch would have killed him. Yang only realized now that his own punch was really not easy to take. The kind Gemini shadow, when Yang was heavily injured and vomited blood, also fell to the ground with a loud bang, blood spurting out from between her lips. Strange, why was her injury more serious than his? Yang was curious. Then, he came to a sudden realization. Everything he had learned in the dream world, such as the deflecting force technique or the innate invisible sword chi, could not be replicated by the ancient laws. The kind Gemini suffered the same injuries as Yang, but she didn't know how to neutralize force, so her injuries were naturally much more serious than Yu Yang's. However, the ancient code quickly healed her injuries. Other than quickly recovering, the kind Gemini also recovered to the same level of strength as Yu Yang. Under Yu Yang's astonished gaze, the kind Gemini once again unsealed her innate state. She raised her left hand high up, as if she wanted to control the nirvana flame, just like how Yu Yang killed Tu Cheng. Her right hand was the world-exterminating wheel, just like how Yu Yang threw the world-exterminating wheel to kill Kuang Zhan. A terrifying ancient rune circle appeared on her body. The only difference between her and Yu Yang was that her left hand didn't have the nirvana flame, but a normal flame. However, it was enough to make Yu Yang's heart beat wildly in fear. Would he be able to withstand this attack now? That day, Tu Cheng, who was close to innate level 3, couldn't withstand it, and Kuang Zhan, who was hiding far away, also couldn't withstand it. Right now, he couldn't even unseal his innate state, so how could he withstand this fatal attack? Forget about Yu Yang. Even little Wan Li, who was chasing them from the passage, let out a scream of shock. The nirvana flame was fake, but the world-exterminating wheel was real. The combination of the two was a destructive attack. Yu Yang didn't even have the possibility to dodge or defend against it. He never thought that, even though he had guessed everything correctly, he was wrong about the second kind Gemini clone. She actually had all of his strength. It was just that she didn't use it normally, so she wouldn't deal a fatal attack to the original. However, at the end of the trial, she finally made her move. Perhaps this was the first time in 10,000 years that she made her move. Right now, Yu Yang could only sigh at his abnormal strength. Otherwise, he wouldn't have died under his own techniques. The kind Gemini clone's face was filled with tears. She controlled the fake nirvana flame in her left hand and raised the world-exterminating wheel in her right hand. She rushed towards Yu Yang, intending to perish together with him. Little Wan Li's binding inherent skill could only stop her for a second. In the end, little Wan Li hugged Yu Yang in despair. She had already tried her best, but this wasn't something that she could fight against right now. This was because the kind Gemini clone currently possessed Yu Yang's strongest power. Only the nirvana flame wasn't real. Everything else was exactly the same. Just as the destructive attack was about to hit Yu Yang's body, Yu Bing suddenly woke up from her state of suspended animation. Her eyelashes trembled slightly, and she opened her eyes. The two Gemini statues suddenly shone with a dazzling golden light. The statue on the left shot out a beam of light and entered Yu Bing's forehead, while the other beam of light entered Yu Yang's back. Even little Wan Li was bathed in the golden light. The kind Gemini clone instantly shattered. Her entire body turned into black and white light. The white light carried a part of the world-exterminating wheel and floated into Yu Bing's body. As for the black light, it floated past little Wan Li's body and entered Yu Yang's chest. The fake nirvana flame exploded. A ball of flame flew towards stone element Medusa, who came to help. It splashed on her snake hair, turning it into a blazing snake hair. Yu Yang and Yu Bing's summoning grimoire appeared at the same time. They flipped the pages before they could see the reward for clearing the trial. Yu Yang and little Wan Li sat on the ground powerlessly and hugged each other tightly. Just now, life and death was in a split second. If Yu Bing didn't wake up and complete the Gemini Temple quest, then everyone's life would have been in danger. Yu Yang was so shocked that he broke out in cold sweat. This Gemini Temple was really abnormal. Luckily, he had brought Yu Bing here and guessed that the Gemini Temple quest needed 2 people. Otherwise, he would have definitely died. This battle was the most thrilling battle that Yu Yang had ever fought. It was even more dangerous than the battle with the Dark Golden Spectre. This was because the enemy that killed him was not someone else, but a shadow that had the exact same power as him. Yu Yang thought about it and felt a little lucky. Luckily, that kind Gemini clone didn't know the innate invisible sword chi. Otherwise, he would have been killed in one hit. Little One Li released a pure white light and healed Yu Yang's injuries. On the other hand, the Storm Mermaid carried Yu Bing, who had fainted again, and brought her in front of Yu Yang. Yu Yang realized that there was an incomplete world-exterminating wheel, runic circle on Yu Bing's jade back. He was startled. That incomplete world-exterminating wheel gradually disappeared. He suddenly felt that this little girl might have gotten a great bargain. If she could master innate strength in the future and know how to use this world-exterminating wheel, even if it was incomplete, it would still have terrifying power. It would be enough to make her enemies suffer. Yu Yang was afraid that Yu Bing would wake up, so he quickly helped her, whose clothes had turned into ashes, were her clothes, and looked at her grimoire. Gemini inherent skill. Yu Yang realized that there was an additional inherent skill on Yu Bing's summoning grimoire's front page. Suddenly, he felt an indescribable feeling in his heart. How could clearing the 12 zodiac temples give such a terrifying reward like an inherent skill? No wonder the Gemini temple was so abnormal and difficult to clear. There was a saying, the greater the price paid, the greater the reward. Sure enough, he had risked his life in exchange for an inherent skill. This was definitely a reward that every warrior in the world yearned for, even in their dreams. Gemini inherent skill. Level 1. Gemini has the ability to communicate telepathically. Gemini can perform telepathic dialogue and eye exchange within a certain distance. On the surface, this Gemini inherent skill didn't look like much. But in reality, this was a good inherent skill for traveling at home and killing people to keep them quiet. Yu Yang felt that if this inherent skill was used properly, it would be 100 times better than inherent skills like fire, ice, or poison. Of course, it might not be that useful to other people, but to Yu Yang, this was definitely a great killing weapon. Telepathic dialogue was already powerful enough, and he could even use eye exchange. This was definitely a pervert among perverts. Yu Yang looked at his own summoning grimoire again. Sure enough, there was an additional Gemini inherent skill on it. The strange thing was that his Gemini inherent skill was different from Yu Bing's. Behind his Gemini inherent skill, there were actually 2 dark golden words, innate. What did this mean? Could it be that his Gemini inherent skill still had some hidden abilities? Yu Yang couldn't understand what was going on at the moment. What made Yu Yang incomparably surprised was that Little One Li summoned her diamond grimoire. When she opened it, there was also a Gemini inherent skill on it. It turned out that even Little One Li had miscalculated the reward just now. This was definitely a bug. Yu Yang hugged Little One Li and kissed her hard. He didn't plan to report this to the God of Heaven Game Company. He was extremely satisfied with this bug and didn't want to complain at all. Moreover, even if he wanted to complain, he wouldn't call the great God. Maybe the ancient code rewarded him like this. Yu Yang accepted reality with a clear conscience. Anyway, no matter how many rewards there were, he wouldn't reject them. The more the better. Little One Li raised her hand and pointed at Yu Yang's mask. This thing? It can actually summon its own shadow? Yu Yang realized that today was his lucky day. Not only was he rewarded with a Gemini inherent skill, he also received the most powerful gold-ranked item, the Golden Mask. Golden Mask, good and evil Gemini, warrior's accessory, shadow type, gold-ranked, 7-layer curse seals, first layer unsealed, skill, evil shadow, gold grade 6 stars. Evil Shadow. Summons an evil shadow that replicates half of the original strength. Duration, 1 hour. The evil shadow will disappear automatically after its energy is depleted. Yu Yang tried to summon it and discovered that the one he summoned was the first shadow that was originally standing in the arena. However, the strength of the shadow had been weakened. It was only half of Yu Yang's usual strength. Furthermore, it didn't have a mind of its own. It only had fighting and killing instincts. Any actions that went against its instincts will be controlled by the original body. In other words, this shadow had no life and no intelligence. It was just a cannon fodder. Of course, Yi was quite satisfied with it. With a shadow as cannon fodder, just thinking about it was beautiful, especially using it to deceive the enemy. It was simply a perfect existence. Rumble. Yu was so happy that he stayed in the Gemini Temple's rear hall for a long time that he forgot to go out. In the end, the rear hall's door was slammed shut. He had no choice but to continue to the next Cancer Temple. It was the same as leaving after reaching the Cancer Temple. Carrying Yu Bing to the Cancer Temple to take a look, he discovered that this Cancer Temple was completely different from the other 3 temples. It was an endless swamp, and in the distance, there was a muddy path extending forward. It should be leading to the territory that the Cancer Temple was guarding. Yu immediately changed his mind, now that he had cannon fodder to lure the enemy. And this was an advantageous terrain for little one Li and the others to fight. He might as well go and see if the gold-ranked beast inside was a crab or a lobster. Chapter 217. Princess Sisai, City Mistress Fallen Flowers, and Yu waited for an entire day and night, but Yu and Yu Bing still hadn't come out. They were extremely anxious. Let alone them. Even Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the Li brothers who rushed over were restless. They had never seen anyone who could stay inside for so long. If it wasn't Yu but someone else, everyone would have given up all hope. Yu and Yu Bing had originally entered the Gemini Temple at noon yesterday. However, when the sun was setting, the 2 of them still hadn't come out. According to the original plan, the Gemini Temple challenge wouldn't take more than 2 hours, so it should have ended long ago. However, after an entire day and night, they still hadn't come out. The Golden Armor Captain brought water and food to Princess Sisai and the others, but the 3 girls didn't have the appetite to eat or drink. They only held hands and encouraged each other as they waited outside the teleportation portal. Yi Kong and Fatty Hai were extremely anxious, but they didn't dare to say anything to comfort them. They were afraid that the moment they opened their mouths, the 3 girls' willpower would collapse. When the sun had set, Yu and Yu Bing still hadn't come out. However, the mysterious beauty who loved to read books had rushed over with a worried expression. The moment she arrived, she hugged the 3 girls and comforted City Mistress Fallen Flowers and Yu. It's all right. We have to be confident. He will definitely pass this stage. It's all my fault for letting him challenge the 12 Zodiac Temples. Even though I knew that he was challenging the Gemini Temple, I still encouraged him. Princess Sisai hugged the mysterious beauty's shoulders tightly. Even someone as strong as her needed comfort from the mysterious beauty. If a man doesn't go through hardships, how can he stand tall and look down on the common people? Qian, this isn't your fault. If it was me, I would also support him. The mysterious beauty patted Princess Sisai's back and said with an extremely determined tone, "Maybe there was an accident, but I believe that he will be able to overcome it. Everyone, believe me, he will definitely bring his sister out. He definitely will." With such certainty from her, even Yu, who had the weakest willpower, was greatly energized. City Lord Fallen Flowers gradually regained her confidence in Yu. She nodded at the mysterious beauty, indicating that she was fine. Princess Sisai secretly wiped away the tears that were sliding down her cheeks. She was about to speak when she suddenly saw a flash of light from the portal. She was overjoyed. They're out. They're finally out. A man covered in wounds and covered in blood rushed out, because he was in such a rush that he knocked Princess Qian, who was holding him, to the ground. This bloody man was none other than Yu. Yu Bing, who was on his back, had blood all over her face. Her thighs and back were also a mess of flesh and blood. However, her injuries were considered lighter than Yu Yang's. Moreover, she wasn't like Yu Yang, who fainted the moment he rushed out. She was more conscious. When she saw City Lord Fallen Flowers and her second sister Yu in front of her, she burst into tears. The mysterious beauty hurriedly hugged her and looked down at Yu Yang's injuries. She realized that Yu Yang's injuries were extremely serious. She hurriedly gestured to Yu Yu. Quickly heal him. Sister Fallen Flowers, come and hold Yu Bing. I'll help Sister Yu. Yi Kong, don't come and cause trouble. Let me save him. Luckily, his heartbeat and pulse are normal. His life is not in danger. Sister Yu, summon another healing water ball. Everyone was in a mess. Only the mysterious beauty was as calm as before. Yu Yu's hands were trembling. She kept summoning healing water balls. However, Yu Yang's injuries were extremely serious. 2 or 3 healing water balls were just a drop in the bucket. Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the others prepared to crush the healing crystal. However, they were rejected by the mysterious beauty. This was because she realized that the healing white light, which had a strong recovery effect, was actually harmful to Yu Yang's body. What he needed was internal nourishment. As long as there was enough energy, his body would have an extremely strong self-healing ability. Using the healing white light to forcefully heal him would instead be like pulling a seedling to help it grow. It was not a good thing. The mysterious beauty gently laid Yu Yang flat on the ground and carefully examined his wounds. She discovered that there were claw wounds, bite wounds, stab wounds, stings, blunt wounds, and all sorts of other kinds of wounds. Other than his face, which was slightly better, his chest and back were riddled with scars. Princess Sisai suppressed her panic and examined Yu Yang's body from head to toe. She shouted happily, "His bones are fine. They're only external injuries." His internal organs were also shaken. City Mistress Fallen Flowers also quickly examined Yu Bing's body. She nodded and said, "Bing Air is also fine. What actually happened? Bing Air, why did you guys enter for so long and didn't come out? What actually happened?" When Yu Bing heard this, she cried out again. "In the Virgo Temple, there was a mother, there was me, and there was also a Schwanger. They were like the shadows in the Gemini Temple. They were the ones who beat Brother up. Once we entered, the teleportation door to the Virgo Temple disappeared. We couldn't leave. Brother carried me on his back and escaped. I don't know how long it took before the teleportation door reappeared. Brother quickly carried me and escaped." What? When Princess Sisai and the others heard this, they were shocked. Didn't Yu Yang and Yu Bing go to challenge the Gemini Temple? Why did they go to the Virgo Temple? Could it be that this brat passed through the Gemini Temple, Cancer Temple, and Leo Temple and killed his way to the Virgo Temple? The mysterious beauty immediately carried Yu Yang and gave a look to City Mistress Fallen Flowers and Princess Sisai. This matter shouldn't be discussed in public. Yu Yu reacted and quickly covered Yu Bing's mouth. She comforted her. "Bing Air, be good. Let's go back and talk." Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the others were completely stunned. They didn't know how to react for a long time. In the end, when they saw the mysterious beauty carrying Yu Yang away, they quickly chased after her. However, the Golden Armor Captain flew over and stopped them. "You guys leave immediately and forget everything that happened here." Fatty Hai originally wanted to shout at them to stop meddling in their business. However, when he saw the Golden Armor Captain's serious expression, he was shocked and quickly nodded his head. When Yi Kong and the others left, the Silver Armor Guards couldn't help but discuss. Which temple did they challenge? Why did I hear that it was the Virgo Temple? Didn't they want to challenge the Gemini Temple? What are you guys talking about? Is this something that you guys can discuss? The Golden Armor Captain shouted loudly. "No, we're just..." A few Silver Armor Guards were shocked and trembled. Memory deprivation. The Golden Armor Captain suddenly took out a crystal staff carved with special runes from his bosom and raised it up high. In an instant, a white light that was 10,000 times stronger than the sun appeared, drowning the entire area outside of the 12 zodiac temples in a sea of light. After 10 seconds, the crystal staff in the Golden Armor Captain's hand disappeared along with the light. All the Silver Armor Guards fell to the ground. The Golden Armor Captain kicked them one by one to wake them up and shouted, "What are you guys doing? Sleeping while on duty?" The Silver Armor Guard were so scared that they quickly got up. Each of them had a blank look on their faces. They didn't understand why they would sleep on the ground while on duty. However, they didn't dare to ask. They quickly lined up neatly and continued to guard the entrance of the 12 zodiac temples. Even so, the golden armor captain still didn't admit defeat. He carefully observed the eyes of the silver-armored guards one by one, afraid that the memory deprivation was not thorough enough. At the wind chime in, Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the Lee brothers were all walking in circles outside. If they entered the room, they definitely wouldn't be able to help. However, if they didn't stay here and wait for news, their hearts wouldn't be at ease. After a long time, the mysterious beauty and Princess Sisai finally came out. Seeing Yi Kong and the others coming to welcome them, the mysterious beauty immediately waved her hands. "Don't worry, Yu Yang is fine now." However, it seems that he still needs some time to fully recover. You guys should hurry back to the Ivy Academy immediately and participate in the 100 Schools Elite Tournament like how you usually do after training. We will also rush over quickly. Other than Grandma Wu Tong, the principal and the vice principal, don't reveal the news of Yu Yang passing the trial to anyone else. The fewer people who know about this, the better. If you guys can find an Anne, then ask her to come here quickly. She seems to be an expert in healing, so it should be effective for Yu Yang's recovery. Understood. When Yi Kong heard this, he was extremely excited. As long as Yu Yang was safe and sound, everything would be fine. Fatty Hai was even more excited. It seemed that what Yu Bing had said previously was true. Yu Yang had really killed his way from the Gemini Temple to the Virgo Temple. Otherwise, Yu Yang wouldn't have suffered such heavy injuries. Of course, Fatty Hai believed that Yu Yang's body was an abnormal existence. To him, this kind of injury was probably nothing. It was better for him to go back and wait for the good news. Fatty Hai and Yi Kong looked at each other and hurriedly turned around to leave. On the other hand, the Lee brothers were more polite. Before they left, they even bowed to the mysterious beauty and Princess Sisai. Indistinctly, they seemed to have the intention of entrusting Yu Yang to them to take care of. Returning to the inner room, the mysterious beauty made a surprising decision. "You take care of Bing Air. The three of us will help him bandage his wounds." His internal injuries were almost healed due to his innate foundation. It's just that external injuries are troublesome. We need to clean his wounds and bandage them immediately. Fallen Flowers, Qian, don't hesitate anymore. Let's put aside our reservations. Since we all know what to do, let's all come and help. City Mistress Fallen Flowers saw the mysterious beauty carrying Yu Yang into the bathroom. She gritted her teeth and followed them in. Princess Sisai, however, was hesitant. She walked to the door and turned back. She sat on the chair and stood up again. Yu had just carried Yu Bing into her room to bandage her wounds. When she saw Princess Sisai's appearance, she hurriedly came out. Princess Sisai lowered her head to avoid Yu's gaze. She said insincerely, "Sister Yu, I think it's better if I help you." Qian, why are you still hesitating at this stage? Quickly go and save him." When Yu saw Princess Sisai's appearance, she felt bad for her. "I don't have an engagement with him. Moreover, he's fine now. I won't go and bandage his wounds. Let me help you." On the surface, Princess Qian looked like a man and was very forthright, but in fact, her face was very delicate, and she couldn't bring herself to lose face. It was not that she had no feelings for Yu Yang, but Yu Yang had not made any formal promises or agreements with her. She was afraid that because of Yu Yang's matter, the sisters would turn against each other in the future. She would become a shameless woman who snatched other people's husbands. "You're thinking too much. Let's not talk about our deep sisterhood. My brother has a stubborn temper. He must get what he wants. Do you think you can hide from him? Good Qian, hurry up and save my brother's life. I beg you." Yu knew that Qian was delicate and needed her help. She quickly coaxed and pushed her into the bathroom. As soon as the door opened, the two women saw Fallen Flowers' trembling hands pulling down Yu Yang's pants. Yu turned around and left, leaving Princess Sisai staring blankly. The mysterious beauty was examining Yu Yang's head very carefully. She didn't even turn her head as she called out to Princess Qian for help. "Sister Luo Hua will be in charge of cleaning his head. Qian, you check his vitals and see if there are any injuries there." Princess Sisai felt dizzy when she heard that. Me? Wuxia. Asked Sister Fallen Flowers to do it. I don't know anything about this. I don't know either. City Mistress Fallen Flowers was also blushing. She waved her hands in panic. You guys make me very speechless. The mysterious beauty took a deep breath and suppressed the trembling in her heart. She quickly tore off the last piece of clothing on Yu Yang's body. Suppressing her embarrassment, she reached out and touched his body for a while. She said with uncertainty, "He doesn't seem to be injured. I don't have any knowledge in this area, so I can't be 100% sure. You guys come over and check too. Let's verify together and make sure there's no problem here." Wuxia, if you say there's no problem, then there's no problem. We don't know anything about it. City Mistress Fallen Flowers blushed, but out of curiosity and concern, she still peeked a few times. What if I'm not here? There's only the two of you. Why don't you just let him die? Come over and help. No matter how precious you are, this kid will take advantage of you sooner or later. Don't be so stubborn. Please have some sense of responsibility as a wife. Your hearts are about to break, but you're still holding on to your pride. Come over. The mysterious beauty rolled her eyes and casually put a bath towel on Yu Yang's waist. Then, she quickly used healing water to clean the numerous wounds on Yu Yang's body. City Mistress Fallen Flowers saw that the bath towel was covering him and quickly went over to help. Princess Sisai stared fixedly. After a long while, she came back to her senses and leaned over to help. The three women worked together. At first, they didn't cooperate very well. They were in a mess. However, as City Mistress Fallen Flowers and Princess Sisai gradually calmed down, the three women's cooperation became more and more tacit. One of them cleaned the wounds, one gently wiped it, and one quickly bandaged it. In the end, even when the bath towel was pulled away, the three women were busy treating the wounds and turned a blind eye. When a mysterious beauty carried Yu Yang, whose entire body was bandaged out, Princess Qian Qian and Luo Hua City Mistress finally collapsed in the bathroom, leaning on each other. The blush on their faces didn't disappear for a long time. If they were talking about saving people before, they didn't have time to think about it. Now that they were done saving people, they thought of everything they saw just now. Thinking of Yu Yang's masculine characteristics that were completely opposite to a woman's, they couldn't help but feel a burst of blushing shyness. Yu Yang slept soundly. He didn't know that he had been seen by Fallen Flowers and Qian Qian. Of course, even if he knew, he probably wouldn't care. If they saw, then so be it. Sooner or later, they would have to be honest with each other. The next day, when Yu Yang woke up, he found City Mistress Fallen Flowers sleeping on the edge of the bed beside him. Princess Sisai was curled up and sleeping on her side in the corner. On the floor, there was a thick, soft, snow-white blanket. Yu Bing slept on it, kicking the blanket away with one foot. His cousin, Yu, seemed to be busy in the kitchen outside. Yu Yang scanned the room and felt that someone was missing. He remembered that before he fainted yesterday, he seemed to have seen the girl who loved to read waiting outside. Where did she go? In the morning, Yu Yang was still a little weak. After all, he had lost too much blood. However, at noon, after drinking 3 big bowls of meat soup, Yu Yang's body obviously improved. Especially after little Wanli came out and cast a clean light ball on him. Yu Yang stood up directly from the bed. He rushed into the bathroom anxiously. As soon as he took off his pants, he exclaimed, "Who bandaged me here? My kid needs the eventide bow. I'm not injured here at all." Princess Qian Qian and Luo Hua City Mistress, who were in the room, heard Yu Yang's shouts, and their faces immediately turned red. It seemed that the bandaging was their handiwork. Yu Bing, on the other hand, didn't understand. She blinked her big eyes, as if she was curious to ask where he was not injured. Princess Sisai, City Mistress Fallen Flowers, and Yu were even more embarrassed when they saw Yu Bing's innocent and curious eyes. In order to change the topic, Yu quickly asked Yu Bing, "Bing, what happened yesterday? Hurry up and tell us about it." Chapter 218. Although the 3 girls were already mentally prepared, hearing Yu Bing's words, they still couldn't help but be shaken to the core. Yu Bing didn't know how she managed to pass through the Gemini Temple. but she said that after passing through the Gemini temple, she found out that her brother was already heavily injured. However, in the Cancer temple, not only did his brother recover more than half, he even went to the Cancer temple at the bottom of the sea alone and killed a 10,000-year-old Cancer that was as big as a house, obtaining the tidal pearl from the Cancer temple's body. She didn't know how Yu Yang did it, but she saw her brother dragging the 10,000-year-old crab's corpse out of the water. After killing the 10,000-year-old crab, I rested for about an hour. Then, brother brought me and continued to the 5th Leo temple. When Yu Bing said this, the three girls secretly blamed Yu Yang for acting recklessly, insisting on clearing the trial in one go. Couldn't he come out and greet everyone first before entering the trial? I won't care about him anymore next time. Princess Sisai snorted unhappily. She raised her small fist, wishing she could beat up Yu Yang. What did you say? Yu Yang, who was untying the butterfly knot bandage to release a large amount of water, didn't hear her clearly. It's none of your business. City Mistress Fallen Flowers hurriedly replied. Bing Air, continue. When you reached the Leo temple, what did you see? Yu asked Yu Bing to continue. The Leo temple is different from the Cancer temple. The Cancer temple is full of swamps, and there's even a lake. The Cancer temple is under the water, so I couldn't help at all. However, the Leo temple is on the ground. It's a plain, like a grassland. It's not considered vast. It's a bit like a canyon. The Leo temple is built on top of a cliff. There were many bronze-ranked lions on the grassland, and there were also silver-ranked lions. Big Brother helped me kill all the male lions and silver-ranked lionesses. There were only 20 or so bronze-ranked lionesses left, and I still had a hard time fighting them. I estimated that we fought for at least 2 hours. I killed all the lionesses and dug out their magic crystals. In the end, I rushed over to help my brother. I realized that he had already killed a gigantic lion king and obtained a golden shield that was carved with the image of a lion and ancient runes. We were all tired and only recovered after resting for a long time. In the end, my brother said that we couldn't fight the Virgo temple, but we still wanted to go and scout for information. Who knew that the moment we entered the Virgo temple, the teleportation gate would disappear? What appeared in front of us was a house in Whitestone City. There were images of my mother, Shuang and I. They said a lot of heart-wrenching things. In the end, they even attacked us. Brother carried me on his back and tried to escape, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't escape. Brother's injuries were most likely caused by the images of my mother, Shuang and I. I couldn't do anything. Yu Bing's tears fell as she spoke. Now, Princess Sisai and the others understood that the Virgo temple was a difficulty that existed to target the challenger's weakness. Who did this fellow Yu Yang care about the most? It was definitely his family. The people he cared about the most were Fourth Mother and his 2 younger sisters. Hence, the images that appeared in the Virgo temple were the 3 of them. No matter how strong Yu Yang was, even if he knew that the Fourth Mother, Yu Bing and Shuang in the Virgo temple were fake, he still wouldn't attack them. Furthermore, they were all extremely powerful images. Other than protecting himself, Yu Yang also had to protect his younger sisters. It was inevitable that he would be severely injured. Luckily, they managed to endure until the teleportation gate reopened. Otherwise, Yu Yang and Yu Bing's lives might not be guaranteed. When City Mistress Fallen Flowers and the others thought of this, they secretly rejoiced. Yu Yang had a good sleep. When night fell, other than his injuries that had yet to heal, he seemed to be fine. He had regained his usual vigor. If the 4 girls didn't see it with their own eyes, they wouldn't dare to believe their eyes. Princess Sisai happily punched Yu Yang. As the saying goes, good people don't live long, bad people live for 1,000 years. This fellow is so bad. It would be weird if something happened to him. Even though she said that, she was secretly amazed by the abnormal recovery ability of this brat's body. An ordinary martial artist would have to lie in bed for at least half a month for a serious injury, but he had almost completely recovered after sleeping for a day. Even if there was a cure, it shouldn't be so fast, right? Of course, she didn't know that Yu Yang's innate qi was extremely good at recovering injuries. Furthermore, after Yu Yang broke through to the innate realm, He learned many healing techniques from the big lowly in his dream realm. Furthermore, his body was originally very good, so it wasn't strange that he almost recovered in a day. Aren't we going to participate in the 100-school elite tournament? Let's go. Yu Yang wasn't used to lying in bed like a sick person. The Virgo temple was like a demon in his heart. It was extremely difficult to pass, so he decided not to think about it for the time being. He decided to bring Yu Bing back to participate in the 100-school elite tournament, so that his sister could train and show off her might. After the battles in the Taurus Temple, Cancer Temple, and Leo Temple, Yu Yang felt that Yu Bing had improved a lot, as if she had been reborn. Furthermore, with the training in the Gemini Temple and Virgo Temple, his sister would definitely be able to amaze the world in the 100-school elite tournament. As for Yu Yang himself, if he didn't meet an extremely arrogant opponent, he wouldn't fight with them. He couldn't be bothered to fight with those small fries. Of course, if he met people like the floating Miss Sex Jr., Elder, or Prince of Zijin, Yu Yang wouldn't mind teaching them a lesson himself to show off their might. Was the junior, Elder, very arrogant? Was the prince really that awesome? The jealousy in Yu Yang's heart surged like a tsunami. He didn't care who the other party was. As long as they were his love rivals, he would definitely beat them up. Although he didn't manage to win over Princess Sisai, Tigress was already his wife. If other people dare to have any ideas on her, they would be courting death. Yu Yang knew that he didn't have the demeanor to let go of his beloved beauty and compete fairly with others. That kind of foolish thing should be done by others. His beloved beauty, of course, would belong to him alone. Participating in the 100-school elite tournament, 90% of Yu Yang's intention was to defeat his love rivals, while the remaining 10% was just to watch the show. As for the reward for the champion, Yu Yang didn't think that the champion's reward could be compared to the rewards from the 12 zodiac temples. Are you really all right? City Mistress Fallen Flowers also felt that this brat's body was very abnormal. He was practically a cockroach that wouldn't die. Yu Yang smiled slyly. He moved closer to City Mistress Fallen Flowers' ear and whispered, "I'm fine. There won't be any problems even in the bridal chamber tonight. You're asking for a beating." City Mistress Fallen Flowers' face turned red. She spat at him lightly and wanted to reach out to pinch his mouth. Suddenly remembering a certain bad thing of his, her body instantly turned soft. Her hand trembled, but she didn't manage to pinch his mouth. Instead, she was held by his big hand. City Mistress Fallen Flowers felt a wave of heat from his big hand. As it extended up her arm, it gave her a strange feeling that was both uncomfortable and comfortable at the same time. Her whole body trembled, and she hurriedly struggled free. "Don't pull my hand." Yu Yang had just succeeded in taking advantage of her, so he immediately pretended to be an obedient child. "Whoever dares to touch my city mistress, I'll fight him to the death." When Princess Sisai heard this, she almost punched him into the sky. Flirting with fallen flowers in front of her, this was too much. Yu hurriedly became the peacemaker and pulled Princess Sisai's arm. "Let's go. We're already late. I think we won't be able to make it for the opening ceremony of the 100-school elite tournament." In reality, not only did Yu Yang and the others miss the opening ceremony, they even missed the first round of the tournament because they didn't show up. In other words, Yu Yang and Yu Bing had already lost a round before they even fought. Now, Yu Yang and Yu Bing had to go through 3 rounds of elimination. They had to win at least 2 out of 3 rounds before they could be promoted again. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to participate in the official elite tournament. As for whether Yu Yang could be promoted again, the old fox leading the team wasn't worried at all. It was just that he felt a little embarrassed in front of his old friends, because one of the disciples leading the team actually ran away and gave up on the tournament. Luckily, Ivy Academy's results had always been the worst among the worst. Hence, it wasn't strange for Ivy Academy students to give up on the tournament. If this happened in Shangjing Academy, it would probably be news that shook the entire Soaring Dragon continent. This year's 100-school elite tournament wasn't held in Xia Kingdom like usual. It was held in Tian Luo Kingdom instead. The venue was the Champion Island. When Yu Yang and the others finally reached the Champion Island, which was located in the middle of the sea, Surrounded by water and surrounded by coral reefs, the sky was already bright. Yu Yang and the others randomly found a warrior's inn to rest. They slept until the sun was high up in the sky before they got up to eat. Yi Kong and Fatty Hai, who heard the news, brought Yu Yang a piece of good news and a piece of bad news. The good news was that Yi Kong and the others didn't disappoint them. They won the team tournament even without Yu Yang and the others. On the other hand, the bad news was that because Yu Yang was lazy in bed, he was absent from the secondary elimination tournament again. He didn't even have to fight before he lost another match. Because of Yu Yang's unprecedented forfeit, it was estimated that more than half of the elite students on the Champion Island had heard of Ivy Academy's name. Many people even gave Yu Yang, who had registered for the Titan, the nickname Coward. If I don't show my might, they would think that I'm a good person. Yu Yang wasn't someone who could be easily bullied. He didn't have the magnanimous heart to laugh it off. He was only thinking about how to bully his opponents in the afternoon's tournament. As for Yu Bing, who was also absent from the tournament, she felt extremely ashamed that she had embarrassed the Ivy Academy. She blamed herself very much, but she still listened to her brother. Since her brother didn't set off, she would rather be absent from the tournament. Hui Tai Lang isn't a contracted beast and can't participate in the tournament. Are you preparing to use a platinum-ranked Bloody Queen to scare your opponents to death? Princess Sisai, who had just woken up from her beauty sleep, stretched her beautiful waist. Yu Yang thought about it and realized that it was true. He didn't have any beasts that were suitable to be shown to the world. Bloody Queen, Barbarian Cow Shadow, Thorny Flower Demoness, Golden Beast, none of them were suitable to be shown to the world. As for Little One Li, she definitely couldn't be shown to the world. Yu Yang was in a difficult situation. The quintet Golden Puppet Mice didn't have any battle strength, and the Spirit of Flame and Smoke wasn't willing to listen to his commands. What should he do? Could he go out and buy a trash beast? Why would he need a trash beast? Yu Yang suddenly slapped the back of his head. Didn't he still have a Reaper Mantis? Although it was still an egg, it was still a gold-ranked beast. When Yu Yang took out the Reaper Mantis egg, everyone was sweating profusely. Would he be able to hatch it in time if he only took it out now? Even if it hatched successfully, what use could a small Reaper Mantis have? Don't we still have 2 hours? We can make do with it if we hurry and train it. When Yu Yang said this, Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the others all fell to the ground. Even the Yu sisters who trusted Yu Yang the most didn't have any confidence in him. Yu Yang, if you can train it in 2 hours, I will change my surname to yours. Princess Sisai laughed out loud when she heard this. Bet with her, I support you. City Mistress Fallen Flowers tried her best to encourage Yu Yang. Anyway, no matter who lost, she wouldn't lose. She was just a spectator cheering for him. It wouldn't take much effort. If you lose, you will follow me. If you lose, you will run naked. Princess Sisai initially wanted to say that if Yu Yang lost, he would change his surname to hers. However, she thought that it wouldn't be appropriate. She didn't want to make a joke out of it. Otherwise, this brat wouldn't be able to get out of it. Hence, she changed her words and asked Yu Yang to run naked. This running naked was something that Yu Yang had said when he teased her in the past. This time, she could take revenge on him for teasing her in the past. Are you looking down on me? Yu Yang put on an air of if I say it's possible, it's possible. Can he really train a beast in 2 hours? Seeing his confident look, everyone was a little uncertain. This brat was really too abnormal. It might really be possible. Chapter 219. No matter what kind of beast it was impossible to nurture it into a beast within 2 hours. Not to mention that the egg in Yu Yang's hand was still an unhatched egg. At first, Yu Yang had only said it casually. He didn't really intend to nurture this Reaper Mantis egg into a beast that could fight in battle within 2 hours. However, after hearing Princess Qian Qian's words, he had the intention to give it a try. In the Pitiful Guy's mother's notes, there were 5 main ways to nurture beasts. At the same time, there were a few other ways to nurture beasts. One of them was for insect-type beasts. Of course, those secret methods were only suitable for nurturing a small number of beasts. They were very special and the effects of nurturing differed from person to person. Some people could use this secret method to nurture a holy beast, but most people would only nurture their beasts in a trash. In other words, the secret method would only be effective if both the beast and the master met special requirements. The Reaper Mantis fulfilled the insect type's special requirements, and Yu Yang thought that he, as the master, should also have no problem, so he wanted to give it a try. Originally, Yu Yang planned to let the little girl contract a grimoire in front of his family and give her the Reaper Mantis in front of everyone. Yu Yang didn't expect that the Reaper Mantis's egg would be stained with his blood the moment he thought of it. Although it hadn't hatched yet, it had already acknowledged that it was his beast. Yu Yang could only put aside the idea of giving the little girl a gold-ranked beast. The Reaper Mantis egg had not hatched yet. For the past few months, Yu Yang had been observing its changes. From time to time, he would transfer some innate chi to it. He also hoped that before it hatched, it would evolve to become more perfect. The Reaper Mantis egg, which had absorbed countless of its siblings' broken eggs and innate chi, was changing every day. If Yu Yang did not have the time to care about it, it would have hatched long ago. All right, I'll show you how powerful I am. Yu Yang used the Eye Destroyer dagger to cut a small wound on his finger and used his blood to draw a contract circle on it. Although it was already a contract, the secret method of nurturing was not recognized. Yu Yang had to make a proper contract. Of course, this was double insurance. With a burst of golden light, the Reaper Mantis egg shone with a dazzling brilliance. Vaguely, it looked like a small sun. At this time, the contract had been completed. If it were an ordinary martial artist, they could let go. However, the secret technique required the master to continue to inject spiritual energy, the more the better. Moreover, the master had to prepare at least a cup of blood to feed the beast. Yu Yang was channeling innate true chi into the contract. The continuous channeling of innate true chi caused the light to shine even brighter. The contract light that was supposed to disappear after 3 to 10 seconds flashed for a full minute without stopping. Princess Sisai and the others looked at Yu Yang's actions in astonishment. They started to believe that this brat might really be able to nurture a beast within 2 hours. When the light stopped, the eggs were broken and the insects were reborn. The hatched Reaper Mantis was very small. Its body was about the size of an ordinary person's finger. Its color was like white jade, and it was slightly transparent. As soon as it hatched, it used its small head to look around. When it discovered Yu Yang, it immediately crawled towards its master. If it was someone else, they would feed the young beast something at this time. It would be best if it was a magic crystal of the same attribute. If it was not fed for 2 to 3 days, it might even starve to death. Of course, special type and element type beasts would not starve to death, but their future growth would be severely affected. The nurturing of young beasts was very important. Furthermore, the quality of the magic crystal it ate would determine the beast's future growth. For example, a young beast that ate a level 6 magic crystal would grow much better than a young beast that ate a level 3 magic crystal. As for young beasts that were fed nothing or only level 1 or level 2 magic crystals, they would basically be useless in the future. At most, they would become a laborious beast. Ah, you're feeding it blood? Princess Sisai saw that Yu Yang was feeding the Reaper Mantis with blood and couldn't help but feel sorry for him. She thought that this brat was too competitive. Even if he lost the bet, she wouldn't really let him run around naked. She was just trying to anger him. This idiot, he actually took it seriously. What an idiot! Princess Sisai really wanted to give Yu Yang a punch, but she knew that this was an important moment and didn't dare to disturb him. She clenched her small fists and watched at the side. The girls could clearly see that after the Reaper Mantis sucked Yu Yang's blood, the blood flowed around its body like a thin thread, as if it was going to form a runic circle or perhaps open up a meridian circulation. In the end, the blood threads became thicker and thicker, turning into a blood ribbon. In the end, the entire Reaper Mantis turned pink and bright red. After turning completely bright red, there was a flash of golden light. Under the nourishment of Yu Yang's blood and innate chi, the Reaper Mantis's body grew rapidly. It grew at a speed that was almost visible to the naked eye. 10 minutes later, The Reaper mantis larva that was originally as thick as a finger had grown to the size of a baby's arm. Yu Yang fed it blood again and supplemented it with innate chi. You're still doing it. Princess Sisai felt that this brat didn't want to live anymore. He had already lost a lot of blood previously, and now he was feeding the Reaper mantis with his blood. Was winning or losing a bet really that important to him? Brother, Yu Bing was even more worried about Yu Yang. I'm fine. Yu Yang smiled at her. After feeding the Reaper mantis 3 times and nurturing it with innate chi, Yu Yang finally stopped, feeling a little tired. He took out the gold dragon magic crystal from his lich ring and gave it to the Reaper mantis. When Yikong and Fatty Hai saw this, they all fell to the ground. A gold-ranked level 7 gold dragon magic crystal was used to feed a young beast just like that. This little thing had to become stronger even if it didn't want to. In this world, probably only the prodigal Yu Yang would use a gold-ranked level 7 gold dragon magic crystal to nurture a Reaper mantis. If the Reaper mantis couldn't surpass gold-ranked level 7, it would be a huge loss. Princess Sisai was so angry that her teeth itched. She really wanted to bite this brat to death. He even used the gold dragon magic crystal for the bet. Wasn't this cheating? City Mistress Fallen Flowers' mentality was different from hers. She cared more about the result and hoped that the Reaper mantis would work hard. It would be best if it could mutate into a platinum-ranked beast or jump a few levels and become a gold-ranked level 5 strong beast. Of course, she knew that this was only her wish. It was impossible for such a thing to happen in reality. Even if it did, it wouldn't happen within 2 hours. Almost half an hour had passed. The Reaper mantis had grown from the size of a finger to the size of a man's arm after feeding it 3 times. It was almost a meter long. Its body was now blood red. Although it was still a young beast, it still gave off a kind of invisible pressure. After Yu Yang passed the gold dragon magic crystal to the Reaper mantis to chew on, he yawned and went back to his room to sleep for another hour. When he came out again, the Reaper mantis had already grown to a length of 2 meters. Its body was as thick as a human's leg. The 2 sickles in front of it already looked a little scary like the Reaper's scythe. Its originally young wings had also gradually grown, and it had started to learn how to fly. It was crooked and would occasionally bump into the wall or the items in the room. Its flying posture was extremely clumsy. Yu Yang took out a few Wyvern magic crystals and let the Reaper mantis continue to eat. Originally, the secret skill did not require the best magic crystals, nor did it require multiple feeding. However, Yu Yang felt that it was fine if he didn't nurture it. If he nurtured it, he would make it the best. When the Reaper mantis finished eating, another 20 minutes had passed. There were only 10 minutes left until the 2-hour time limit. Princess Sisai knew that this bet had already lost its meaning. However, on the surface, she still refused to admit defeat. There's not much time left. Your Reaper mantis is still a young beast. Princess Sisai actually didn't want to remind him, but in front of everyone, she couldn't bring herself to admit defeat. There's no other way. I can only use my trump card. Yu Yang rolled up his sleeves and used his blood to draw an ancient rune on the Reaper mantis body. A terrifying aura was released from the Reaper mantis body. Yikong, Fatty Hai, and the others were actually shocked by the shockwave and fell to the ground. A purplish-black light rose into the sky like a pillar of light, reaching a height of a few meters before falling back down. It returned to the Reaper mantis body. Everyone saw the ancient rune on the ancient mantis body, turning as if it had a life of its own. In the end, it disappeared. The original blood red Reaper mantis changed color continuously, finally turning into its mother's purplish-black color. However, there was an additional blood red and a dark golden scar on its body. Although it was an insect-type beast with no intelligence, everyone could feel a special kind of intelligence hidden in its 2 huge eyes. This was a light that only intelligent beings possessed. The Reaper mantis was still growing. From a young beast, it gradually evolved into a mature embryonic form. However, its growth speed was extremely slow. 10 minutes passed, but the mature embryonic form was still not complete. According to the bet, Yu Yang had lost. However, According to the initial goal of nurturing a young beast into a beast, Yu Yang had won by a large margin. Now, everyone could see that it was only because the Reaper Mantis was a gold-ranked beast that it took a longer time to evolve. If it was a bronze-ranked or silver-ranked beast, Yu Yang would definitely be able to succeed in 2 hours. Princess Sisai didn't say anything. She didn't want to mention it, lest Yu Yang got angry at her. The bet was only a joke. Don't take it too seriously. At most, she could use it as a shield next time when he was angry at her. Princess Sisai decided to change the topic. The competition in the afternoon is starting. We have to leave immediately. Otherwise, we'll forfeit the 3rd time again. Of course I have to go to the competition, but before that, I want to do a great naked run. Yang took off his clothes, then his pants, very straightforwardly. You dare? Who asked you to run naked in public? Princess Sisai hurriedly grabbed his hand that was about to loosen his belt. She didn't want Yu Yang to run naked behind her. What would happen then? If this spread out, wouldn't she, the princess, become the laughingstock of the whole world? Others who didn't know would think that she had some perverted hobbies, like a naked man following her on the streets. Princess Sisai thought about it and felt a chill run down her spine. She hurriedly pulled Yu Yang's hand away and buckled his belt again. She then helped him wear his clothes. I've never seen such a scoundrel like you. This time doesn't count. We'll talk about it next time. Yu Yang smiled slyly. He lightly hugged Princess Sisai's shoulders. Brother, whenever you want to see, just call me. I'm willing to accept my loss. Princess Sisai was speechless when she heard this. Why did it sound like she made the bet? Because she wanted to see his naked body. City Mistress Fallen Flowers couldn't help but laugh out loud when she saw Princess Sisai fuming with anger, yet speechless coquettishly. She laughed until her shoulders trembled. Even Yu and Yu Bing couldn't stop laughing. There was no one in this world who could deal with Princess Sisai. He was the only one who could be her nemesis. At this time, outside the secondary elimination tournament, the old cunning fox paced back and forth, scratching his head anxiously. Why was this brat Yu Yang late again? It was fine if he didn't want to participate, but he didn't even show up when he signed up. This was really worrying him to death. There were still a few minutes left. If he still didn't show up, he would become the first coward in history to forfeit the tournament. The old cunning fox couldn't wait to go up and compete in his place. It wasn't like he couldn't win anyway. Your elite disciple wants to forfeit again. Not bad. This is a historical record. Not only is it unprecedented, I'm afraid there won't be anyone who can surpass it in the future. The old cunning fox's friends laughed out loud, purposely mocking the old cunning fox. The old cunning fox was speechless. He thought to himself that this brat didn't want to come. Otherwise, as an innate, he would beat up all their proud disciples until they cried. He was about to leave in a huff. Suddenly, he saw Yu Yang calmly walking over with Yu Bing, Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the others. Damn it, it's finally our Ivy Academy's turn to show off our might. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.